Greetings, everyone. I am, as always, your ever prepared GM, Brian. Here with Fellowship Gaming, here to entertain you with yet another tale of daring disaster, dimwits, and preparation. Today, we're going to be doing session 0 of a new campaign we're going to start. We've decided that we want to play the Bloodlords Adventure Path. The Bloodlords Adventure Path, the players will be citizens of the undead nation of Geb, which is in southeast, southeastern Garand. You guys are going to have hopes, dreams, undead hunger, probably. And we're going to figure all that out today. Got some resources. I've got the player's guide on Demiplane open in front of me. And we do have the book, but didn't bring it with me, so we've got our Book of the Dead stuff. We're just going to go over some rules, expectations, things that may come up in the campaign. That sort of thing. Alright.
Yeah, stick with us and we'll see what we end up becoming. Both before we play and while we play.
And we'll go over some of the difference between what we'd make in society and what we would do in
Yeah.
in Adventure Path.
This being a campaign, rules are a lot looser for us.
Yeah.
So if we have a viewer who lives in Cache Valley and wants to do a semi...
Well, it will
Wanna
be
join us?
steady. It will be steady.
I was going to say semi-official, but
I mean, we get credit for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how I meant. Like, we can build and play what we want, but we still get...
You still get society credit
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
So if you want an introduction to society and the remaster and want to play... You don't have to be evil, but it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for any of you who've played any of the published content before as a home game, you can just report that and get credit for it if you decide to do society. So you can be like, oh, yeah, we played this because Pathfinder Society, they keep changing the name. I think it's called Adventure Mode now. For long campaigns like this, it's essentially a home game where the GM's in charge of everything, but your characters don't translate over to Pathfinder Society characters.
Yeah, you can't take it to another table and play it as is.
I mean,
It's-
a GM could audit it and say, okay, I allow
Sure.
this.
But yeah.
But a GM can just as easily say, no.
But you have to... The chronicle sheets that you get, you have to then spend to make that character valid in society play. Otherwise, we just apply it to a different character.
Mostly just apply it to different characters.
Can you play undead characters in society?
Skeletons are available. I don't believe
The archetypes are
the
not.
archetypes are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't released those.
So I
to the
think
public
skeleton
yet.
and probably zombie, because those aren't archetypes, I think.
So
Zombie might
currently
be.
the undead options for society play are the Dampier and Skeleton.
Yeah. Which is a race and a heritage. Yeah. Because all of the dedications, the archetypes are uncommon. So you would need a chronicle sheet telling you. Maybe one of these give you... I don't think so, but that would be...
For most of the for most of the heritages and ancestries, you can just buy them with boons.
Yeah.
With achievement points. So you usually don't unlock them with these. Usually, the undead archetypes or other, like the undead master archetype, might be something that might be unlocked for a character. Those are usually what I've seen as rewards. is access to archetypes. And I don't know what Bloodlords gives, so we'll find out along the way. Alright, so just my base rules will be largely using remaster content. The thing I'm probably not going to use is any of the sanctification stuff through cleric or especially champion. We're going to keep those alignment based. But
Just because it's easier.
yeah, and it gets like champions. I got kind of annoyed because I found out they errated smite good and evil. So
Yeah.
smite good only does their spirit damage on enemies that are opposite of them. So a good holy champion, well, not good anymore. A holy champion can smite a unholy sanctified thing and nothing else. And I'm like, that is super limiting. I think it's dumb to put that much a fight over a few points of spirit damage per turn. So, and also, most of the things that are supposed to be sanctified evil aren't. Like, undead across the board are supposed to be sanctified evil. And that's supposed to be reflected in a weakness that they have to holy damage, which isn't there. Like, and that's where it gets confusing, is that it's like spirit damage will still work on many undead that have a spirit of some sort still animating them. And then holy is supposed to trigger a weakness that they have against it to do more damage. But that won't appear until Monster Core is released. And so I'm like, the whole sanctification thing, it's better laid out in Cleric, but it's still not great in general. And so, if anyone wanted to play a champion, I'm just like, we're not going to deal with the sanctification because it's a bit too limiting for them. Let's see. Well, I am curious now, because usually, always been used to shorthand, like, you guys should be these alignments, and that's what the player guide assumes, because it was made when we used alignments. How do you say, you guys can be jerks, and I don't care? Is it just that simple? Because, I don't know, it's a...
Well,
it's
there's
weird
there's
with the
no
change.
evil good leaning. Is there still axiomatic leanings? Like, how do they detail that? Chaotic, lawful.
Well, they got rid of all of them, and so we refer to evil as in our own moral code, but then I'm like, I read a discussion on this online on Reddit where they were like, so we don't have alignment to describe things, but Sarenrae wants us to smite evil. How do we smite evil if evil doesn't exist? And they're like, it's still there. And I'm like, it's
No.
kinda not.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
If somebody who's doing something that you think is evil, but they think is for the greater good, they're good.
Yeah. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. Oh, it's subjective. No, there are moral.
There are
rights
there are
and
gray
wrong.
lines, but there are definitely hard lines.
yeah.
Like baby murder is certainly, And I don't mean I'm not going to get into a political
Right.
abortion
Don't get
conversation, but like Pharaoh's dashing the Judean children's head against the rocks of the Nile. That's pretty fucking evil.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a prophecy. And don't do it.
You're not going to stop the prophecy anyway if the prophecy's as real as you believe.
And so,
You're just going to facilitate that prophecy and make it easier.
Which is what he does. But
and like it was funny
that's
because they were like, well, if there's a bunch of boggards who are usually evil just in a swamp hanging out and they don't bother you, and I'm like, well, that's fine, but if they were evil, it's because they went and they do evil stuff.
Like
So
steal people
when
to
you're
sacrifice
not
to their god.
yeah.
Like they're chill now, but the village a few miles up is not looking at them so chill when they get raided. So I'm like, we don't really talk about that sort of thing. They're like, well, they have to be doing something.
Yeah.
And
It's like you're only evil in the process, but
Yeah.
after there's like
No.
absolution, no.
No.
and it's also why I'm like, and this is why I hardly ever I hear about people in adventures redeeming people. I never hear like it being a process. It's like it's a Naruto fight.
Oh, that was-
We're like, bam! I
No.
beat you down,
Yeah,
and now you're good, right? He's like, yeah, sure.
that was the biggest issue with Pathfinder First Edition. Is literally atonement was a spell. Like it wasn't an RP process. It was just, oh, you're good now. Okay.
Like there was usually a quest attached to it, but they
Well, yeah.
did literally have a monk. Well, I say monk. It's a feat. I think made for monks. It was change of heart, which was literally
Oh, yeah.
I beat you up and now you think you're better.
Let's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mhm.
Aang steals Ozai's powers,
Mhm.
but he doesn't go good. Like
Yeah.
he's still insane and like wants to destroy everybody and especially kill Aang. He just now has to do it as a dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Um,
I mean, it's like the Wrath of the Righteous game.
yeah,
Arushale, that's what her name was. I couldn't think of her name.
mhm.
She has probably the best redemption process in any game.
yeah,
But you can fail it, and she is an evil.
yeah. Well, it's a Shadowheart. Like it's not perfect, but there's a really good like process going from Shar to Saloon, or Salune, or however you pronounce it. But it's definitely a process. It's not immediate.
No,
3 acts.
She's a raging.
Yep.
She's a raging.
She's a special
Banshee.
NPC. Yeah. She's a banshee. Was that?
Yeah, she's a raging female dog for the first 2 acts.
And like I was just gonna say, we don't pronounce it saloon around here just because we're in the West, and we're like, oh, the drinking establishment down the street. Sure, we worship that.
No wonder she's a raging. She has a spit tune. Huh? It's high noon. Oh, that actually, oh shit! Now I want to be a gunslinger of Saloon. It's high noon. Because she's light. Oh, that's stupid. I love it. It's like Escanor in like 1 minute a day. I am the supreme being.
I was just like,
Oh.
I mean, it's almost like Sadira in the Crystal Pantad after she actually gets her power.
Yeah.
Oh, the sun empowers me. I can do anything, including destroying any of the Sorcerer King's queens.
Yeah.
And she did. Literally went toe to toe with one and was like, yeah, stop killing my minions because you're pissing me off.
All right, so let's go through character creation rules, specifically of what you're going to allow over and above the normal, and then we'll talk about Geb a little bit, and we'll come up with some fun concepts. I know we've all thought a little bit about it, but we also
sticking
have
with
to.
mine.
Yeah. Casey knew his from the start, so
Yeah.
we're all building around.
Casey's
they're all
like, I've been
building
watching
around.
anime. That's who I'm gonna play.
I don't
No,
think
but
there's an anime analog for this character.
the
there might be.
Skeleton Knight
probably
in Another
is.
World.
I've never actually seen that, so
Oh, you would love
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure I would. I've seen parts of it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I would enjoy that. I'll get to it.
I
I gotta finish Jobless Reincarnation for
yeah.
Delicious in Dungeon, solo leveling.
Well, that one's once a week. Like you just have to wait.
I know. Well,
It's
all
really
of
good
these
though.
are
God damn it! I just the dwarf makes me so happy. He's like they're in the trap room and he's like, "Show me how that works." Pushes the halfling. Like, hey, that's a perfect temperature for grilling. I'm like, God damn it, that's so smart. My next Skyrim character. What's the
No,
mod?
it's the elf is my favorite character in that
Yeah.
because she's like,
Oh.
damn it, it's good.
She's just the purple face. You eat that? Delicious.
Well, depending on what you guys decide for your characters, you may be eating all sorts of things. We'll see. So, for sure, everyone is offered a free archetype specifically for an undead archetype.
Okay.
And you can take that first level instead of second level. So you can start out undead if you want.
And is that
Okay.
so only the certain types, or are we like the Reanimator, the Undead Lord, or whatever it was called? Like, if it's undead themed, is it acceptable? Because obviously Lich wouldn't work.
I prefer it for the main types of undead.
That's only what 5?
No.
It's mummy, ghoul, vampire.
Yeah.
Because they're more racial or heritage ones. Racial's bad for Pathfinder, but
Nah, it's fine. We're old. We call
All right.
all sorts of normal things racial. Let's see. I was trying to remember.
All right, yeah. So, just since I already know what I'm playing a skeletal fighter named Horus. And he really, really, really hates being undead. To
okay.
the point where he has become apathetic.
So
So, literally, his favorite thing to do is, like, lie in this one spot on the next to a road. And he doesn't move if people come and prod him. But if, like, undead or necromancers come along and are like, hey, we're chasing living people, which way did they go? He's like, that way.
well, that's going to be really interesting considering the ovens. So one of the background stories in the player's handbook or player's guide is long time ago. Somebody invited a bunch of humans into Dark Dirge. Grey Dirge. Thank you. I gotta write that down so I don't forget it. Invited a bunch of humans and the humanoids into Grey Dirge, and just outside, and they had built homes and everything, and then he lit it all on fire and killed them all. And now somebody, I don't remember, I think it's in a building guild, wants to redo it, and there's they didn't give any reason why. So that'll be fun. So you're like, that's the only thing. You're just like voting for it. You're just like, I was there. I don't want it rebuilt. You're the one
Probably.
dissenting voice. Because you got to be semi-political, and I just want you to have a character that comes in with.
Oh, no,
You know.
he would be semi-political.
I love it.
Like I said, he's very heavily anti-necromancer.
Yeah, there are factions that we'll get to that will come into play that you guys will have to decide how you deal with.
But I mean, again, being a fighter, he was a warrior in life. He knows this. He doesn't remember his name, but he's like, now that I'm a skeleton, everything I remember I actually liked about life, I can't even do.
Like drink.
I can't drink. I can't eat. I can't have sex. This sucks. And I don't want other people to experience this.
Okay, so you're talking specifically about the rare ones, like Ghost, Ghoul.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are what I prefer to start. And then Because the other thing is that if you guys want, we can also do dual class, and that's why I'm like, you can
That's-
just switch out other feats. Because I'm gonna do the free archetype feats is separate. If we do dual class, you can put in archetypes in as normal.
Okay. So normally free archetype gives you 10 free. We're just getting like however many would be for this.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
And if you run out, once the initial thing to make you undead, you can branch off from there. But yeah,
I'm gonna cheat and use the old rules for this. Because I know at higher levels it's basically like, still the old rules, just now you track 0.5s instead of full numbers, and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
What do you mean?
yeah. So because they got rid of
They got rid of the scores.
Oh,
So
right,
you
right,
just
right.
would just track
the
this.
Yeah, it's an
modifier.
arrow
you have
instead
to-
of a. Yeah, yeah.
They're
You
like-
basically have to track.
Yeah. It amounts
track.
to exactly the same.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's exactly the same.
We're just more familiar with the numbers, so we're like, we
Right.
know what 19 means. And what happens when I hit the next ability boost.
Yeah. And when the next ability boost is.
So,
Okay, so BOTD is the book that those are in,
Yeah.
which we
Yeah.
don't currently have on hand.
yeah. I
Right.
have a copy at home.
I
Yeah.
thought I brought a copy in.
We might have it. I don't know.
A copy of what?
Book of the Dead.
Book of the Dead. Could be down there. Could be up there. Don't think the second edition is in here anymore.
I don't think there's anything second edition in there.
No, I think they're all maps.
Maps and Torg.
You're a tool.
I wish
You're
I
a
was
Torg.
a Torg.
No, there's not anything over here.
But they're all on archives and your favorite character builders.
So
as well.
dual class. What other class are you going to be besides fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Make Casey work.
Yeah.
I don't have to be anything besides fighter.
No,
Fighter,
do yeah.
fighter.
Take another class if you're a dual class.
I wasn't planning to.
Oh, I thought Brian was going to make you.
Like, I won't make you if you don't want to do it, but, like, part of this is that the AP is adjusted for 4, and so the hope is, and I wouldn't mind, I'm played around and made a little undead zombie Nagaji cleric of Urgathoa to just hang around you guys, because gosh dang it, it's really hard to make a cleric work in Geb when,
Yeah.
because positive or vitality energy is strictly banned,
That's fucking illegal.
pretty much. And so, like, the best spells to deal with undead rampaging you aren't supposed to use, and I'm like, that doesn't sit right with me.
Onto
So-
Google.
But it turned my cleric into a big healer for you guys, who works on making you guys harder to hit, which I was okay with being a more passive role. But dual classes on the table as far as I'm concerned, if you guys want to use it.
I mean, I won't say no getting to use something that I would otherwise never get to use. So-
And then,
And I'm just, if you don't want to do it, don't. I mean, I'm just giving you shit. I just thought it'd be funny to do something fun. This is the wrong book, isn't it? Nope. Okay. So, Ghost, Ghoul, Lich, Mummy. Lich is out because you need 6 level spells. Mummy,
And here's the problem
Vampire
I have with
zombie.
Archives of Nethos.
They're not updated to remaster yet.
It does not work on this tablet if I leave
Oh no!
the Starfinder edition.
Ghost
I-
School, what was it?
Ghost Ghoul,
Here, let me.
Mummy,
Vampire and zombie.
Vampire and Zombie. Yep.
And you can combine any of these with the skeleton ancestry as normal if you want.
Yep. And then there
Which makes no
is
sense whatsoever.
Makes perfect sense to me.
there's a Reanimator archetype and an Undead Master archetype also in this book.
Yeah. The Reanimator, I wasn't too familiar
That's
with.
basically
Let
a
me see.
discount necromancer.
Mm,
You get a. I remember I looked at it. I think you get a Undead Familiar.
I think
Or no, that's Undead Master, sorry.
is the Undead Familiar, which I'm okay with.
Yeah. Undead Master is basically a necromancer ranger.
Mhm. Mm,
Okay, we have.
it looks like Reanimator focuses around the Animate Dead spell, so
Yeah, I think you already have to have that spell
you do.
to take it. Yeah.
So that's a no-go, right?
You can if you want. I don't know that. you guys
You're
are
kind of.
interested.
I think at level
Sure.
1 you only have.
You would have
one
to build
option.
towards it.
Yeah.
You can take it as a free archetype for that I'm going for, which is allowing you to start as undead if you want.
Yeah.
Though, with all that said, you can be a living person. There
Yeah.
are living people in Geb, and as a slight spoiler, there are law meals that just assume you're alive, which I found weird. So the book assumes you all start out alive,
Yeah.
which I thought was a weird thing. But yeah, so if you don't want to be undead, you can use your free archetype for another archetype. You could do a reanimator. It just wouldn't be at first level. It'd be at the normal second level, because you would have qualified for them.
Okay. So if we don't choose one of those 5 that are valid, we can choose one of those 2, but we get them at second level like normal, but that's still free archetype.
This and any other archetype if you're a living person.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So like if you wanted to go acrobat rogue.
yeah.
Cool.
This was more to fast track if everybody wanted to be undead to start and didn't want to be a skeleton.
Which I need the skeletal advances. Stat advances.
It's strength. I know strength for sure. Do you not have Path Builder?
Oh, probably do. Can probably get that on this. I just can't get to Archives of Nethys on this.
So skeletons are Dex, Charisma, and Free with a flaw in Intelligence.
Oh yeah.
So Dex.
Yeah. Dex, Charisma, free. Flaw, Intelligence. 6 hit points, medium size, 25 speed.
Okay.
You have Undeath and Common, Necral, and then additional languages equal to your intelligence. So, Fred, what were you thinking of playing?
Well, since we don't have to start off at undead, I was thinking a rat folk.
Okay. What class?
Probably rogue.
Okay.
And because he's scared of being eaten.
That's valid.
and so he's terrified of being eaten all the time. So he's most of the time is trying to hide.
What were you thinking, ancestry-wise or heritage-wise? Ancestry, you said, but
Heritage-wise, I'm not quite sure. Heritage.
so the real big question, because I was thinking around playing with the idea of what's it called, stitch flesh, and using if I went rogue, which I probably won't now, but if I did, I was thinking of building around using their feats to get a bunch of the healing stuff.
Yeah.
Ward medic, like not medic as the free archetype, but just taking the here and there. But now that we have all these options, something a little left field maybe. I have to see how Ghost School Mummy. Vampire's fine. I didn't like the idea of the sunlight thingy. I don't know how. I imagine the sun still happens because Gab has a huge agriculture component.
I think it's covered by clouds, so they're
No, maybe, but there's huge acreages of actual food.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking. It's like it would be clouds, but it would be enough to block the UV lights.
No, there's
It's not.
there's
like that.
tunnels.
Oh.
There's tunnels under Geb.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a whole like bunch of, I don't know if there's a specific clan or anything, but there's a ton of dwarves who that's their job, is just to dig tunnels.
For
Yeah.
my background, I decided to pick haunted.
Interesting.
So he's followed by a ghost or something all the time.
Rare one.
It's a rare one.
Yeah.
So he's followed by a spirit or entity, either from childhood or since a traumatic or one. I just thought that would be funny because he's haunted, and so he's talking to somebody. Nobody can see what he's talking to.
But tons of people can see it, just not the normal day-to-day people. That'd be funny. So, Brian would tell us here in a minute, but I'll do it instead. Part of the adventure path's heavy leaning is that you want to become a bloodlord. That's the whole shtick. So you have to be semi-political at the very least, or you have to have an idea of, this is what I would do to improve my life and the life of X, Y, and Z in Geb proper. Because bloodlords are of Geb. They're not just of like the Grey Dirge or anything like that. Because we have one. We have a governor, and then we have a bloodlord, but the bloodlord is kind of in the Dirge.
So, story-wise, the Bloodlords are Geb's apprentices.
Yeah, Geb's
and
the
when
undead guy, king.
Geb got tired of ruling and forced Erosny into ruling for him. And then when Erosny left, the Bloodlords took over. And there's like 200 of them, I think, that were all apprentices to
50,
Geb.
60?
Something like that.
Yeah. I think it
There's
says
a
in the
whole
AP
bunch
it says
of
there's
them.
60 or something. Oh shit.
I couldn't remember exactly how many.
Yeah.
Or where
I,
it said. Oh, here we are. 60 Bloodlords.
yeah.
And you guys will have
So if
To
you want to read the
make-
player's guide,
some choices
Hmm.
dealing with factions. The main factions are the Builders Guild. It's Geb. They focus on Geb's architecture, civic improvements, and public works. Anything gets built in Geb, they're the ones who do it. There are the Celebrants. Celebrants.
they're like religious.
Yeah.
They're the people who officiate rituals and stuff, right?
Mhm. They're mostly priests of Urgathoa. They're looking at this. It's really hard to tell what they do, but they party really hard. They apparently have unlimited money, and they also use those opportunities to spy on anyone who doesn't like life in Geb. The Export Guild deals with Geb's foreign trade and does imports from other countries as well. The Reanimators, who raise the dead to work Geb's farms, as they're rated as the least desirable faction, but they're a necessary part of life in Geb. Let's see. Reanimators control untold numbers of mindless undead spread across the countryside for workforce and other things. The Tax Collectors Union is the last major faction, and it looks like their main interest is making sure the rich old families of Geb are paying their dues. More or less.
I was under the impression that they were controlled by the rich old members of Geb.
Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Yeah, I think you're right. So it looks like the Tax Collectors Union are the incredibly rich of Geb. That focus on finances.
So yeah, when I was reading it, I got the idea of like old world money stuff where it was we have the money so we get to decide where it goes, and then they vote and make sure like that's why the celebrants, because they keep everybody happy, they get unlimited fundage, kind of like football scholarships.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes everybody come here, because they want new blood, and the reanimators are like, yeah, we like new blood, but then they die, and then the like secondary law of Geb is if you die here, you rise here. So.
And then I haven't looked at Geb's entry in Impossible Lands book, but I'm almost like 90% sure that they're trying to make the flesh farms a conspiracy, that those aren't real. And I'm like, those vampires are drinking something, and it's not coming from
People.
the gluttony domain. Just gonna say that. So, but I doubt we're going to come across too much of that, if at all. So, no dreams of my idea for my character, who is going to be a farmer who wanted to get his prize human bull back after a bunch of Serenites kidnapped him. But, yeah.
All right. Just to reiterate, you said it's free archetype or dual class, but not both.
You can do both.
Oh. Wow. And if I don't want to do, because now I'm rethinking if I do the Undead Master,
Mm-hmm.
I do something with a companion, I get a familiar and a companion. Is there a way to make a companion undead?
The Undead Master gives you an undead companion.
Oh, I thought it gave you an undead familiar.
Mm-mm.
Oh. Oh, I'd rather have a companion than a familiar. I'd actually like to have both. That'd be fun. Because as far as I know, familiars aren't really combat characters. They're kind of like exploration ones.
Yeah.
Whereas the companions, like the bear for Ranger, can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if I do go rogue, and I do go Undead Master, and I go the corpse flesh stitching. I can't remember the feet line.
Mm-hmm.
That I won't really step on Fred's toes, because
Well, most of the time you don't when we play both rogues, anyways.
yeah,
Because
because we're really good at doing different things.
yeah.
Are you thinking standard thief, or are you gonna go kind of like a weirdish?
Well, I was trying to figure out the dedication and stuff, what I would be doing, and I have yet to figure out the dedication. I would.
Well, I like the idea. You said ghoul.
Yeah.
So I think what Brian's also saying is after you do ghoul, you can do something different.
Well, I was just trying to figure out how to do it with Path Builder, but
You
it doesn't.
gotta. Do you have the? I'll show you.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to figure out.
No worries. Oh shoot! I hit. Okay. So go here. Go here. All right.
That one is in the paid version of it, so I wasn't sure.
We have to do. Okay. Oh, you're on the website. No, you're not. What the heck? Okay. Well, I know how to do this. It's just weird. No, you don't have advanced options.
Well, it's probably because it's not paid for.
Oh.
The one I have paid for is at home, and I can connect it to my printer and stuff like that.
Oh, you have it on the computer?
Yeah.
Then you have to access it to the website.
Yeah.
You can do that. Just go to Google and type in Path Builder, and then log in.
I don't know how. I don't know how on Path Builder to put the free archetype P at first level.
You
That's the
can't.
only thing.
You just apply it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have to.
You just
kinda
take it at
remember.
second level, and then when you write it on your character sheet, you just apply it as is. Or we'll just do it at second level. I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah. No, I did think of something funny because Undead Master, one of the undead companions you can get as a ghost. There's a familiar version as well, but it's a specific familiar. So if you were a witch something and got your 4 abilities, you could have one ghost as a familiar and one ghost who's like the big burly
Yeah.
companion to beat people up.
And then I could be a ghost.
Yeah.
I'd be an army of ghosts.
And then the witch in the remaster, their familiars got a bunch of abilities if they're within like 15 feet of something. So
Yeah,
you just-
either of you or an enemy. Yeah.
So you put your ghost out. And, like, let's just law ghosts. We can do that. It's funny.
I like that. And if I do ghost, then I definitely won't be the healer because I have to put energy into touching people.
It'd be also gonna be funny and be like a witch summoner and have an undead eidolon and be like, he's the only corporeal one here.
Unless he's the ghost Eidolon, and then he's not.
You like summon your old body.
I summoned his. No.
I'm kind of using it still.
Are you though?
I'm using the most important part.
Nah, apparently not, because you can't have No, your own admission. No, that's fine. Just imagine.
Have a skeleton and party NPC who's like, hey, we can bone anytime we want, man.
No, there's no crickets in Geb, but every now and again you hear a bone rubbing. Like crickets, you're like, are those No.
That's how the fire started.
Why does everybody have burnt shins? This is weird. Oh my god. Damn you, Brian, for putting the ghost army in my... Because now I want to play the Lord of the Ring ghost army.
Yeah.
That is such a good idea. And I've never played a witch or a summoner in 2nd edition.
I don't know about these synergize, which ain't based and some.
Yeah, I don't care about physical, so I could just focus on intelligence and charisma.
That's true.
Are you able to log in?
No, it's telling me that it has. I have to go through the app.
No, that's not what I mean.
So I went over here to.
That's not what I mean. Just go to Google. Yeah, type in Path Builder website. Now, to be fair, I don't. You should be able to use it through the internet, but I don't know if they'll let you do that.
They probably sense you're on the phone and you're like, how dare you?
There's an Android OS?
Use your
Fucking
app.
wrong. So you're just not going to use any of the
You
secondary
need the
stuff.
toys.
No.
That's fair. So when we die, it's Casey's fault because he didn't get the power boost.
There's no saying I can't take one.
That's what I'm. Yeah, like why don't if you're not gonna just go medic, or I mean, why don't you be the? No, don't. I don't want to force you into a bubble you're not comfortable with.
Mainly because I don't have medicine or the intelligence to make use of it.
Well,
Oh yeah, you do get a minus intelligence.
Oh, it's a wisdom.
Well, you can take a background to give you battle medicine and medicine, and then free archetype medic would give it to you expert.
See, this is what it goes when it goes to that, and keeps knocking me back over to. It's telling me my screen isn't big enough.
one of the
What?
So.
and then there's also specific backgrounds if you want, and the only thing for them is that a handful of them give you starting reputation with some of the factions. Like, if you want to be haunted, Fred, that's fine. I'm just saying there are campaign-specific ones that you can look at as well.
Okay, I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah. I think the easiest way is just look at the player's guide, because
Oh yeah.
the online resources just kind of mix them all together
Do you,
and say, there
you got
you
a
go.
notebook? Just start writing stuff down.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Figure it out when you get home. All right. Well, I am fine.
What you feeling, friend? Were you gonna dual class or anything?
Well, I was thinking about maybe dual classing
Mm-hmm.
to like a dual classing is like rogue wizard, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of like an archetype, it's sort of like Gestalt, where you got the best of either one, whichever one gives you more hit points per level. And then you get all those proficiencies.
Yeah.
So,
And all the features.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I
But
think-
you don't get 2 skills. like if you're a rogue, you get the skills at normal,
Yeah.
but you don't like if there's an overlap of like level 4, level 8, you just get 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
something that
Yeah.
like if you were to do Eldritch Trickster, that'd be I think dual classing would be the only time it'd be good, because then you could get a charisma spellcasting class to modify it, like sorcerer.
Well, I like the Eldritch Trickster. The problem with the Eldritch Trickster is a game problem.
Yeah.
Because they offer you ability to sneak attack with spell attack spells, and not only is your proficiency slower with them in general,
Yeah.
but because it's through an archetype, but spell attacks are bad by design in second edition.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want casters stepping on the toes of the marshals by using AC for stuff. But
I
they
think
like
a Thaumaturge Arcane or Eldritch Trickster would be pretty good because they have the highest DC.
yeah.
And then they can get spells through. Well, and that's the thing too. Racial spells are charisma based. The Eldritch Trickster is charisma. If you get a like a race that has spells,
The Eldritch Trickster is based on whatever
school, yeah,
uh,
primal,
your
arcane,
dedication
yeah.
is. So, if you went sorcerer, it's charisma.
Oh right.
My cleric one was wisdom based
Oh.
in Abomination Vaults. So I had like super good perception, and I thought that was fantastic. And then you can also be super smart. So it allows your key ability score to match your spell casting dedication. But those are also better across the board because spellcasting dedications and innate spells and stuff. If you have levels in a full caster, they all go off of your full caster proficiency. So you get a lot more options there. It's slightly confusing if you go off of different ability scores, because your innate spells still use your charisma, even if your proficiency's better. So, a little hard to track, but better overall. Not juggling spell lists like we used to. Let's see. Let's see. That would be fun. And what kind of rogue were you thinking of?
Just regular thief.
Thief? Okay.
Someone that I. It's kind of the ones that I more rather play. I mean, the ruffian's pretty good too.
I like the ruffian.
And the thief to me just seems like I know what my job is, and I'm not stepping on the toes of the fighter.
It would be fun as a thief rogue swashbuckler.
That might
Especially,
be good.
well, yeah. Do a lot
Because
of tumble through, tumble behind.
a ton of of precision damage. You're the first time you hit something that's immune, you're like, no, my 4d6 are gone.
Is there a lot of? I mean, would it be better to be not do precision damage in Geb, or is it most things immune
like-
to in Gebs?
I don't know the numbers. The main thing
Yeah.
you're going to struggle with are incorporeal enemies. And that are going to resist your precision a lot. I don't know how often you'll run into stuff that's immune to precision.
Is there a
Well-
lot of well in the first book? I guess I shouldn't ask this. Is there a lot of ghosts and incorporeal that we'd be fighting?
I mean, there's a lot of undead in Geb. Period.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how meta it would be for Brian to say expect to fight these creatures at levels 1 to 3, but
I'll say I don't have a problem saying that I don't think I remembered any incorporeal enemies in the first book. They can show up later,
Huh.
and you'll just. But with Rogue, because you're adding your decks, you're always going to be doing good damage as long as you have that ghost touch rune, or
Yeah.
you're a ghost, whichever.
Well, that might turn out like in the second fight, I might end up turning into a ghost. Who knows?
No, it
Huh.
could happen.
And I was just trying to see where the I guess ancestries or backgrounds that would be better for. I'll have to look.
And I don't know if Path Builder changed any of their names.
changed what?
Any of the names for the backgrounds for the campaign
Anything that
background.
is geared towards specificity. So, like if it says Geb in the name or something like that, it's been changed.
Alright,
Like Last Wall Survivor is just called Survivor.
yeah. It looks like they're all generally trained.
Yeah, so you can find
They're
it.
general enough. It's just, I just usually find it hard to find them all.
Ooh. Now I'm looking at a witch psychic,
Mm.
because then I can go straight int, deal with cantrips and hexes, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to complicate it.
And then I can find out if the witch is actually a good class to play. 'Cause last time I saw somebody play a witch,
It was amazing in first edition, and then I didn't like the playtest in second edition.
Playing with Justin's Witch in Abomination Vaults. I like it.
Yeah.
The having a one like Justin's in particular had a one action cold hex that didn't do a lot of damage, and you could only affect one enemy. It's like ever or within 10 minutes or something like that. I forgot exactly. You couldn't spam it on anyone, which made it feel worse because of that. But the Remaster Witch, they've added some new options. They play with their familiars more.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
And like they will still lead you astray because they still have like their living hair and claw feats to make them seem like they're going to be really good if you just attack people. And it's like they're still casters,
Yep.
so they're not supposed to be. The dual classing does fix that too. So you could be a rogue witch and hit people with your hair,
Mm.
and it'd work pretty well that way. Because
Oh,
you
does it
got
have
the
finesse?
martial.
Does the hair have finesse?
Believe so. Let me look up the living hair.
I mean, I could tell you in a second. I have witch up because I'm looking at it.
Because I looked at it and was like, yeah. Agile, disarm, finesse, trip, and unarmed. The downside is just a D4 bludgeoning, but you get to beat people up with your hair or fur. And then they added additional feats, I think through the Ruby Phoenix. Yeah. That you can take. And if you're at 4, 6, and 8, that give them more options. Which isn't good for a witch. but it would be for a rogue witch that wants to fight with their hair. But it's only a D4 bludgeoning, but I'm like, I use gauntlets all the time for my ruffian rogue, so I didn't care. But yeah, it says I forgot all the options they gave for hair, so you instantly grow or shrink your hair, eyebrows, beard, and mustache by several feet.
Is that living hair?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I thought I loved the idea of a dwarf with living hair.
That was gonna be one. I never got around to building it, but I was like, that was my plan. Eldritch Trickster, Rogue, Witch Dedication, Living Hair. Beat people up with my
Yeah, 'cause
beard.
you can go. Oh, you can go int or charisma either way.
Mm-hmm.
No, not for witch. Witch is int. You can go int for rogue. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense. Well, that's fun. We'd both be witches, but I'm gonna be a ghost witch with a ghost familiar and a ghost companion. So we won't be stepping on toes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go more of the banshee ghost scariness.
That's fine. I'll be talking to Sam.
Yeah. Well, I'm liking the idea that you have the haunted background because I'm thinking like it's me fucking with you. Like not intentionally, but I just thought it'd be funny. Like it's my familiar just going, "Hey, how you doing? What's up?" And you're like, "No," and I don't know it's doing it because it's gonna have independent.
And then,
That's funny.
let's see. Do you?
Yeah. You could dual class into Kyurgen. Not a terrible idea.
Turgeon doesn't actually give medicine.
Oh yeah, no, you have to. So you used it wrong, thinking you could use crafting, but you need medicine.
You have to have medicine.
But if you take it, it enforces you increasing medicine as a skill, which you can then just take.
But that's also an intelligence base, and I didn't put into the.
Oh, that's
intelligence.
I forgot.
Yeah.
That's true. You could go rogue and then only put your skill feats towards healing ones.
I was like, I remembered natural medicine. Had this image of him as like, come on, got these leaves. Something's got to get me feeling. Dang it! And they're like, oh, good, the healer's here. And you're like, what? Oh, yeah, sure.
Maybe I'll take druid.
I mean, yeah.
That's wisdom base, which I'd have to do some modifications.
Turn
Where
into
are your
skeletal animals. That'd be funny.
I'd have to move it from intelligence. I can't move that one.
Oh, you're right. Well, I mean, you can do alternative.
Could move. I can't move one from.
Well,
there.
I'm saying there's also for stats, there's alternative where you just get 2+1s instead of the 3 - 1.
A 3+1. But I mean the
Yeah.
intelligence, like you basically give up the flaw in one of your other ones.
Yeah.
to
So
put
yeah,
two.
yeah.
So
So you use the human. You just get 2 1s and that's it. There's no flaw. There's no free. They're both free, but yeah. So like.
All I can think of is that skeleton off of that one. What is it? Game that they show, and he has like a whole bunch of arrows sticking out, and he goes, "Oh, I'm really great," and he gets smashed all the time.
Probably.
Oh, Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh,
Death
yeah,
Knight.
yeah. Oh, he's got the glowing eyes, and he's got the half-horned helmet.
someday I'll be a legendary hero.
Let's make this guy legendary. Oh, good! I'm finally becoming a legendary hero, and it's a different skeleton.
All right. So, witch, psychic.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could do is move 2 points from intelligence into wisdom.
Well, unless you do the alternative.
Unless I do the human, and then I just
No, well, yeah, you won't be
get
human.
rid
You
of
know what I
the
meant.
charisma.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure this out.
Yeah. What did you set your charisma to?
Well, it's just
I
plus
left
one
it at-
because
I
of the
left it
the plus
skeleton
one.
gets it
Plus
on
one,
that
yeah.
automatically.
I just didn't know because often it's good to.
Bard. I could do Bard.
Well, soothe works on undead.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I imagine
And
you
then-
soothe yourself a lot. That's how you get through the day.
There you go.
That's great.
And there's a ton of spells Bard gets that you don't care about the save. You don't need that charisma.
That works.
Yeah, and you can.
I can easily.
Medium armor.
I mean, probably heavy eventually.
I was like,
Because you can wear any armor with spellcasting.
yeah. Well, as a fighter, he gets heavy,
Up to heavy, yeah.
but he's got a +2 in his dex. So I was like, yeah, you can put that in charisma.
Well, it's now down to a +1.
Oh, okay. I
That's
didn't
what
see
I
you
mean.
shift it.
Yeah, I already shifted it.
Beautiful.
And so yeah,
Nice. So, start breastplate and then whatever type. Because you
Well-
can be an order. You don't have to be a music-
chainmail's a little cheaper, so I went with that.
That's not. That's fine.
Breastplate also reminds him of what he doesn't have anymore. It's
That's
right
just
in the
like- it's
name.
He's just it's a musalata. It's a Roman musalata. He's like, look at my abs, and then he lifts it up as his bones. So like, and I'm sitting here like, well, I can't touch anything.
Up for 6 levels. Someday I will. But I figured out an easy workaround for that. You just wear gloves. Ghost touch gloves. Now you can handle stuff.
Oh, if I go ghost, I can't do undead master.
Well, you can replace your some of your regular class feats with it. That's how I was handling it.
Oh, at level 2, I take
Yeah.
undead master and take ghost as my free archetype,
Mhm.
and then
Okay.
I could I go swap between the free archetype feats and just take ghost at like 4 and then undead master at 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
that'd work. I was like, we're throwing in a bunch of options. They're complicated. If something makes sense to you, sure. I was like, just in the mood to just throw a bunch of things to the wall. Oh, and speaking of things to the wall in variant rules, were there any others you guys were interested in, like, what is it?
APB.
APP.
Do we want a standard
Automatic
progression
bonus
or do we
progression.
want an automatic progression and then we don't have to worry about items?
Well, your weapons and armor and stuff. Because
Well, I mean that's what I meant. I mean
Yeah.
that your
There won't
progression is
be-
progression, and then extra items like if you want a +1 occultism, you got to find an eye talisman or something.
yeah,
But yeah,
because automatic bonus progression replaces your armor, weapons, and the skill bonus items, basically.
right.
So the only thing items you're getting are like consumables, and stuff that does the non-standard stuff.
Yeah.
So this means that instead of you guys wondering about who gets what weapon or if about paying for those weapons and
So for
upgrades,
Fred,
your weapons would
Playing
be-
the rogue, whatever. APB just means at
two
2 you just get a +1. So
Yeah.
all of your weapons are +1.
Okay.
And then at 4, 5, 6, I don't remember what it is. They all do
at
extra
4,
1d
they're
whatever
striking.
damage. Yeah.
Whatever would be easiest to do, I think. And I don't know
Right.
if you've looked, because I know I've looked at a lot of the players. They don't give you enough gold to do anything with.
And like, it kind of depends. Like, Abomination Vaults gave us a ton of stuff up front as long as we survived.
Yeah.
Um, but,
The Extinction Curse, we basically got
and
to
then
write our own check.
Extinction Curse, we were what, level 3 or 4 before we got our first like +1 weapon,
Yeah.
because they're like, oh yeah, you guys are supposed to have these things. We're like, come on, work with us. So, from what I saw,
I'm cool with it. I think it,
Bloodlords, I think you'll be fine with items. It's just,
yeah.
it
We
was
get in,
again another something. Just if we want to play with it, but I want to leave it up to you guys.
yeah.
Well, I'm fine either way.
I'm thinking I want ties to the tax collectors, because the idea of a ghost with a scout familiar and a combat/scout undead would be a good informant. And I think I'm for the psychic. I'm looking at like gathered lore and for the conscious mind, but also for the patron, I'm looking at things like that where it's yeah. 'Cause gather lore gives me an action that basically has aid on lock, and if I do the halfling ghost, I can get the aid racials. So then it's just like, instead of casting shield, which I will also do, but I'm just like, all right, I'm waiting. Who needs who needs help? I think that's a good idea. Because then I can even take adopted ancestry and get the human one that gives me a +4 circumstance bonus.
And do you know they changed adopted ancestry in the remaster?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Because I was going to suggest it for someone because they were doing a heavy armor barbarian and they were like with a shield and they were like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be so slow. And it's like, alright. You were adopted by dwarves, you take unburdened iron, and now you're not slow anymore.
Yeah.
Boom, you're done.
Done.
And I was just like, it used to give you a feat when you took it, but now it just unlocks them all. And I'm like, oh, well, that's weird. That's better, but weird. And as far as ease for me, Fred, like, I'm fine either way.
Okay.
It just means I follow. If we don't use it, I follow the AP and just be like, oh hey, you found this, which is cool. And if we do use it, I just ignore the armor and weapons unless it has something cool on it.
So for patrons, I figured I would take the Starless Shadow if I were to be a witch.
Oh yeah, I was gonna look at which Starless Shadow.
That's a pretty good one. That'll work really well if you take the rogue feat, Dread Striker.
Mm-hmm.
So at level 2 or 4, I can't remember when you can take it. Whenever an opponent is frightened, they're flat-footed, off guard to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just like, ah! And then next round, you're just like, bah, 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 bah. So that has pretty good synergy for you. Because I was also thinking about Starless Shadow for my witch. Ghost, Darkness.
Yeah.
So maybe we can look at other options. Nothing really screams out to me otherwise.
Well, I remember hearing somebody said the snow, the silence in the snow or the snow one is probably the worst one to get.
If you're in the north, it's not so bad. Because then you don't die.
I mean, I like it. Like, the issue, as I recall, is that clinging ice as a hex just doesn't do much
Yeah.
damage and doesn't have too big of an effect. But when you cast it around your familiar gains
Yeah.
ice.
Like an aura, and it's difficult terrain or something like that.
Yeah, difficult.
A good one for you might be the Wilding Steward, because if you're gonna lean into the rat and go rat familiar and all that,
Well, I wasn't going to take the rat familiar as a.
well, you can build your witch familiar to be a rat.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a rat as per the feat. It's just a little scurrying creature.
Yeah, it was when I made my wizard and had a rat familiar because it was a heritage or
Right.
ancestral feat, and I was going to do that.
So the witch's familiar can look however you want it to look, and it just depends on what features you take.
I figured a cat.
That's cool too. But when you sustain or cast a hex, your familiar gets imprecise scent or tremor sense or blunt, so you could never not know where an enemy is as a rogue, because your familiar is like, it's right there, and you're like, okay.
Another one that would work is the spinner of threads, which I kind of like for
That's a
your
good one, too,
concept
yeah.
of I don't want to be eaten. So you just put all the odds in your favor of not being eaten.
Yeah, I thought about doing that to go with the halfling, because the halfling luck and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, as a ghost who does witch fortune stuff, I thought that's a pretty good idea as well. So,
But you get Nudge Fate, which for a minute, if a +1 with matter, it happens. And
or
then-
-1 when you sustain.
Yeah.
So you're like, that enemy, they have one too much armor class.
And then you get Sure Strike, so you are like,
Yeah.
you get to roll twice, ignore concealment on an enemy. Roll twice, take the bear. Ignore concealment, so when you're like, I need to hit you really hard, that's how you do it.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of taking resentment, because it gives me evil eye and ongoing misery. I think I'm gonna do resentment because of the Banshee Witch idea.
Oh, if you're going a rogue witch, the inscribed one could also be good. Because when you use your hex, it causes a distraction, and now, if your familiar is next to, or your familiar can provide flanking for you and your allies as though it were able to attack, and had to reach of 5 feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just don't know how well my familiar would last flanking with
They come back
things.
the next day.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Witch's Familiar. You just wake up and bring it right back. It's the one amazing thing about Witch's Familiars.
And honestly, the familiar's not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's just distracting them.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna.
I think Casey's going to be more of the... they're going to focus on him. Or at least that's our goal, is to make him the meat sack.
Even though there's not a
Even though there's not a lick of meat on
there's
him.
no meat on these bones.
Yeah, I met him by treeing on his leg.
Are you... So, I mean, skeletons are fine. Skeleton racials, they have one where as long as you are completely encased in armor, people just assume you're human. It's a fun one.
Yeah, it might be later.
Maybe.
It's not
No, I'm
early.
just saying, I knew that... I was looking at skeleton for a half a second, and I saw that feat, and I was like, that's... Totally the skeleton in another world. Like, I
Yeah.
was just like, that's how that, because he takes his helmet off and everybody's like, oh my god, but he just looks like he's a dude, like full armor. I thought that was funny.
I was laughing because in the player's guide, there are a lot of changelings in Geb because hags like to hang around. Sure how that works with all the undead, but sure. And so I was like, changeling skeleton. Never knew. Didn't even know I was anyone's kid.
Ooh, telekinesis sounds fun.
Yeah, I don't even get soothed till like 4th level.
You don't get what to 4th level?
Can't get soothed till 4th level.
Ah.
Even with the free archetype. It
Oh.
just gives me.
Well, it would be dual class, so you could have it at first level.
Huh? No, I can't.
With a dual class, yes, you can.
How?
Because
Could
you
you
have
get
first
Bard up-
level
yeah.
bard
You get
and
it
a
at first
first
level.
level fighter.
Okay, maybe I'm misunderstanding the dual class then.
So dual class is more like Gestalt before.
Yeah.
You level 2 classes at the same time. They're full classes.
Oh.
You take the best of each.
Yeah. So look at all of the options. I have both
Okay.
Lich and Psychic spellcasting at level 1. So yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And I'm more than happy to let you guys use my path builder because it's currently set and unlocked to kind of, build up like maybe a level 5, and then I can send you the link, and then you'll be good. This would be easier if we were just starting at level 2.
I mean, yeah, I would.
Which is also an option. Because if we do the 3 of you to offset the 4th person without me having to recalculate counters. And just bump you up 1, make fights easier early on, but I feel like that's okay.
How will that affect it later on, or do you know?
I don't know the full effect.
It'll be fun.
Well, it just makes it easier for those with free archetype because it technically doesn't work until level 2.
Mm.
Which, if we're just level 2, we're good to go.
And the pre-archetype rules for this also allow the GM to put at first level. It's just that, as far as like Path Builder is concerned, that's impossible.
Yeah.
So it makes it harder to build. The other another possibility, I didn't know how you guys felt with it, was I could play an NPC that just hangs around with you guys. Like I said, I played around and made a zombie Nagaji cleric of Urgathoa. And because of the restrictions against vitality or positive energy in Geb, like, they aren't. It's really hard to fight other undead as a celebrant of undead. Which makes sense. It's sort of like trying to heal a living person to death. It don't work. Most of the time. Don't go to the positive energy plane, people. You will blow up like a balloon from the healing.
Effectively. Yes.
So, but that would be another possibility. I didn't know how you guys felt. Because I could play the cleric pretty passive, and because that was more of what was easy to do, to be like, I'm going to cast Forbidding Ward to increase our skeleton fighters AC against that one person, and I can harm them to get their hit points back. And that could be my job, and that's all they do. And they'd be good at it. I just go into medicine feats. Very passive character. Has like a collection of brains in their remaining coils that they just snack on whenever. Because that's what they do. Their coils are where they keep their snacks. So, and I don't know how you guys felt. Like, it's a little bit more work for me, but again, it makes it so I don't have to redo encounters. And then leveling you guys up early would just get us through a bit faster for the early encounters, which I don't have any problem with.
And then I don't have to be a fighter bard
Mhm.
and deal with all the extra stuff.
Why wouldn't you have to be a fighter bard?
Because we'd have the cleric.
Oh,
Either one's fine with me. I don't mind having a passive cleric.
yeah, it doesn't matter to me either.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd prefer the passive cleric.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't mind taking the bard as an archetype
Mhm.
rather than being you're both. Okay, no. I really don't want to be both.
That's fine. Any other questions about the campaign now?
No, I'm just trying to figure out how to make a ghost familiar. The companion's easy. The familiar is not.
The ghost familiar is a specific familiar called an old friend.
Old
And-
friend?
And
Okay.
then I can't remember when you get the ability to make specific familiars. Because I think you take a feat to take a specific.
Required number of abilities 4. Okay.
And then
Okay, so if I take a hands familiar, I can get it now.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then our plan is we're going to do a Friday and then a Sunday back to back for our Bloodlord games. And I was willing to give up our Starfinder week. But we also have 2 weeks of Torg. So, I didn't know which one we wanted to do. Because those would be the only ones we could give up for a Friday game. Would be moving Torg once a month or getting rid of Starfinder.
Or we can do 2 Sundays in a row.
Well, I was going
Oh.
with Tony's only going to come up.
Oh, yeah,
once.
that's right.
Right.
One Sunday.
I mean, I could maybe do 2 Sundays. I mean, a Friday and a Sunday is easier, but
Yeah, and that works best.
Yeah.
Also, I think.
Yeah.
because then I can just say, okay, this week is
Mhm.
that's a dead set week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I get, it's Torg or Starfinder?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
I feel like Starfinder's going to be going through a change here soon.
yeah,
Yeah.
the playtest is
And I
coming
enjoy
out
it,
in August.
but it's kind of petering out. But because then I don't want to give up Torg because Jeremiah, while he does play both, he's more in Torg than he is in Starfinder. And I
Yeah.
think I'm more, especially now with Ghost. Why am I playing Ghost and everything now?
Coincidence.
Yeah. So
So,
I think we need to ask Jeremiah as well because it also affects him
right.
because it'll be a Friday he won't be able to play
Like,
unless
the
he wants to.
way he was talking before, on Discord, from what I remember, it made it sound like he just thought, "Oh, we're just getting rid of Starfinder."
Yeah.
Well, if he wants to play only on Fridays, he could play your cleric that you made on Friday, and then you could play him on Sunday if you
Well,
would like to play.
this might be him having opinions because I'm not
Yeah, we get it.
looking at chat.
He's saying, I thought we decided to give up Starfinder.
Yeah.
We haven't specifically, but
yeah.
we can.
The issue is that, as far as I know, Jeremiah didn't want to be in the Bloodlords campaign.
I was just giving an option for him to
Yeah.
still play on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like it's a game. It sounds like it might be
Well,
fun.
I think it was because he couldn't play Sunday, so he opted.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, if you and him are sharing, I'm not saying he has to. I agree with them that it's if he wants to be here on Friday and play with us, then
Mhm.
you and him can
Share the cleric.
share the cleric. Yeah. Excuse me.
So, you know,
That way, he doesn't have to deal with all the management of the cleric, and
I mean,
it'll just be.
kinda does.
Yeah. It's
So-
just something that if he wants to show up, it's a way for him to keep playing on Friday. If he so desires to come out and hang out with us,
Right.
especially when we change places of where we're doing this.
Like, I got the impression it was more about he didn't want to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition than just because when we talked about being Friday, he was like, "Oh, well, then I won't be there."
Oh, fair enough.
So, but yeah,
I'm
Um,
just trying to include,
I know.
because heaven forbid we're not being inclusive.
We include all of Jeremiah's children. That's as inclusive as anyone can be.
All 800 of them,
Mhm.
or is it 900 now?
Well,
Who's counting?
I'm like thinking this may be why he's so obsessed with goblins now. I'm like, let's see, 6-month gestation. Yep, that all tracks out. Anyway, so, but yeah, if you want, we can talk about more. But last I knew, because Jeremiah enjoys running Starfinder, I enjoy playing it. And I also enjoy running it, but yeah, we haven't needed me to run it. But I don't know. It's hard. I liked our schedule, and now I'm like, I'm here. And then, come August, when the Starfinder playtest is released, we'll have to find time to try and figure that out, because I do want to try it. Not terribly confident in its
Yeah, I'm not
ability
excited
to
in it.
absorb 2nd edition rules. I just don't think aliens will be alien very well,
Yeah.
because Pathfinder 2nd edition is horribly human supremacist.
Mm-hmm.
It's the wrong word, but it's why I keep coming back to it. It started as a joke in my head, and I'm like, they keep confirming it, so. But it feels like anything with more than 2 arms, anything that doesn't see, they can't handle very well, and they don't.
They need to get a sci-fi science fiction writer there.
Yeah, they need science fiction writers that understand science fiction. Because all they have is fantasy writers, and the fantasy writers are like, oh, we'll just write it like fantasy, but with aliens. And it's like, that doesn't work.
Especially
nearly as well.
You don't understand that people can, using iron sights, hit targets at 300 meters away with a rifle.
I've done it
As have I.
with the 249. I just hold down the trigger more.
It'll get there eventually. Well,
Walk it in.
That's right.
and that's one thing I've heard is the current test games they've done are trying to make more long-range combat be a thing, but they're also trying to balance that with people who want to play melee characters as well, which is hard.
The melee characters to me would be more like when you're inside a close combat.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, okay, when you're out in the open, it's going to be harder to do the close combat.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're inside of a building, it's really easy because you're inside of a building.
Well,
The thing is, they always throw us inside the buildings.
well, sometimes we're outside and then everybody's playing this hide behind the mortal maw. So, you know, because that's the only cover from the snipers 300 feet away.
And see, that's the problem I had when I built my operative. Is I tried to make him a sniper and it didn't work.
Because we were so often inside this. There's only like one
Yeah.
scenario in the entirety of Pathfinder where they actually used range combat. Starfinder, sorry.
Yeah.
You've
Longer
got-
range.
Yeah,
combat.
longer range combat. And it's like most characters didn't build for that because every scenario up till that point, you got into close quarters fighting.
I was amazed I made it to them. I got some really lucky rolls that my mortal maw didn't get downed on the way to those snipers. Oh, there's a sniper nest. Yeah. And like I agree, but I'm also like we hardly ever used 120-foot range of a bow. Like, or,
Because they do the same thing in Pathfinder.
well, I know, and I'm saying that I don't see that as like a genre issue. I see that as a game issue.
And
Our
I
maps
would agree.
aren't big enough. And we
Part of
hate
it.
it when they say one square is 50 feet.
You're not wrong.
Well,
You absolutely are not wrong.
I think BattleTech does the exact same thing, except one hex is, I forgot, like a kilometer or something like that.
I
I'm
mean,
not
it
near
can't be
the
a
actual-
kilometer.
I don't remember how big it was. It was just,
Because a mech takes up an entire hex.
yeah.
I don't remember actual distances for BattleTech.
They actually said something in one of the
I'm sure they
books.
did somewhere. I never
But
I never read up
They
on
probably
it.
did.
I just remember
I
reading
mean,
it.
I just remember things I remember is if you really wanted to reach out and touch someone, you used a Gauss rifle or an ERPPC.
Hmm. Or a long tom.
Or if you wanted to flick their forehead for not much damage, an AC2.
Yeah.
Or if you were there just for the long range memes, you parked a hypervelocity AC2 up on the hill. I don't remember the range it had. I just remember when I was young, we had we made our own map, and we put like this huge mountain, like 30 hexes high or something, and my brother parked a little vehicle up there with like 4 hypervelocity AC2s. He was just plinking away at my forces with indirect fire from like 3 boards away, and I'm just like, the heck am I supposed to do? I guess he gets lucky and I roll and I take 2 damage. And I can't do anything about it.
I remember what we did is we gave everything a C3 and a C3 slave. So we had we put the C3 in like the assault class mech because the C3 is stupidly heavy. And then we just slaved a bunch of others, including a archer that we'd replace the LRM-20 with a Arrow 4. And he just stayed on the edge of the map. We'd have one of the light mechs run in, just try and get close, and then you rolled attack using the range of the closest mech.
Yeah.
And so we were just dropping Arrow 4 artillery missiles on people.
They gave the Inner Sphere some dirty, dirty stuff to combat the clans.
They needed it.
And they needed it up to a point. Some of those tandem warheads were awful. Tandem warheads for you kids at home. Every Battletech mech has armor and internal structure. Internal structure is
The bones of the mech.
always is your bones, but it's always like half of what your armor is because
Yeah.
your maximum armor is determined by your internal structure. So imagine a missile, a short-range missile, that does damage to your internal structure. Now imagine they come in groups of 6 and just hit you, and your armored limb just falls off because there's nothing inside holding on anymore. They said it was okay. It wasn't.
Yeah, tandem. Thunderbolts was another one.
No, my brother was always jealous that I could fit an ER large laser in the head of my mechs. Because often the head and center torso might be the only thing they have left. And he's like, "It's how much damage?" I'm like, 10. I'm like, how do you fit that in your head? It's huge.
Clan Tech. All of it was half as big as the Inner Sphere.
Mhm.
That's the things I remember. It's like Inner Sphere ERPPC. Sure, it had the same range as the clan version, but it did 5 less damage for the same amount of heat.
Yep.
The clan, same range, 5 more damage than the Inner Sphere, same amount of heat.
And as years went on, this is where Clan's philosophy of "we're awesome" backfired on them, because the Inner Sphere was just like, "Oh no, you got a plan to put poisonous frogs in their cockpits? We'll take it." And the clans were like, "We don't need to innovate. We're the best around." And we're like, "Where'd all these frogs come from?" We need an anti-frog device, and it never worked as good. What was it? So there was Guardian ECM, and then
Angel.
the Inner Sphere developed Angel. And it's like, well, what's Angel ECM? And it's like, let's take 2 Guardian ECMs and slap it together. You need that many to overpower mine. And it's like, okay. And also, that mech has it too. So you need 4 of you. We're like, there's so much. The air is on fire. Can we step away from each other? And we're like, no. Short range is the best range for the Inner Sphere.
Yeah, it was.
It gives us a chance to make bigger bore weapons. This thing doesn't even have propellant to go out. We just dangle it over you and hope it drops like an animal. And they're like, they gone mad. What's wrong? And it's like, they're winning with their madness. We're losing.
I mean, it's like the Berserker. That's an inner sphere mech.
Yeah.
That thing is stupid. What do you got? An axe. And armor. And mask. What? Well, when you overheat the mech, it runs twice as fast and hits 3 times as hard. How do you overheat it? We just tell the pilots not to turn on the heat sinks.
My brother did Mask, the Triple Strike Mimer, and 2 maces. And I had a mech, and I got so lucky because he had 2 mace attacks that hit 1 in each arm. My poor little Cauldronborn was nothing but squashed torso that just barely survived. And when I say Cauldronborn, I mean that when my brother and I looked at these mechs, we were like, why are they built with these weird weaknesses, like not having maximum armor? So we rebuilt every mech. It took us years to run a book mech by the book. Because we were like, they're crazy. This is madness. And then we realized it also makes the game not last as long when you have 800 armor to go through. So this was the max protection a mech could have. And I got, all he was a head and center, torso, and legs. And I fired an ER medium laser, hit my brother's mech in the head again, blew it off, and I just limped away. And he was like, these stupid Cauldronborn are too tough. I'm like, if you hit anything but my arms, dead. It was ridiculous amounts of damage.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because a Cauldronborn is not a little mech.
Yeah.
That's like a dire wolf.
65 tonner. It's a cool mech, but yeah. And then because I was clan and had ridiculous amounts of space savings, that was when I went to like, what ridiculous things can I do? So I created, and I was also inspired by Robotech's giant wall of missiles.
Mm-hmm.
A plan. So I built a mech I called the Tsunami. It was like a 60-tonner. And I had a pair of every LRM. A pair of 20s, pair of 15s, pair of 10s, pair of 5s. Some ammo.
Some ammo. Yeah.
And just going, well, it's a good thing I don't have to pay for the extra case so my mech doesn't blow up when the ammo gets hit. Still ain't great because it doesn't have a backup plan. It's like, we're out of missiles. I don't have anything else to do.
No, ours was, we took the dire wolf, the 100-tonner, stripped everything out we could, put in like 6 tons of LRM-10 ammo, and then 12 LRM-10 launchers. And then actively tried to put enough heat sinks into it that it didn't just automatically shut down when you press the missile button.
Yeah.
And that never worked. In MechWarrior 3, we pressed the missile button, the mech's like, nope, shut down.
I built the ultimate sniper mech. I called it the Rifleman 10 It was an 80-ton mech, uh, hardly moved, but had 4 ERPPCs on it, tied with a targeting computer. So I'd just be like, I'm going to hit your center torso, which is fairly easy to do. Thing is, I looked at all the numbers. For a good, like, for pretty much everything below its weight, 60 damage was enough to core a mech. I just had to also deal with 60 heat, which I was like, everything else is heat sinks on this thing. So it's like, can't move. It goes from frigidly cold to blindingly hot after it fires. But it can keep doing that as long as it didn't move. I never put that one in battle, because we kind of felt it was a bit unfair.
Bit unfair.
Like, and it wasn't nearly as creative as trying to figure out how to crush someone with a mace. So,
Maces were stupid in that game.
yeah.
They made axes look bad.
Hmm.
Swords were just a joke. I think the most interesting mech I ever made was basically the Bushwhacker 2C. And this was when MechWarrior 3 was out, so the reason I made it is because I was playing MechWarrior 3, and you start with a Bushwhacker in that.
Yeah.
And you're basically killing clans, so, alright, we got their tech, what do you want to do? Well, let's rip the AC-10 out of the arm, and replace it with an ERPPC, okay? Let's rip the LRM-5s off the other side, and replace them with Clan LRM-10s. Okay. Let's rip the machine guns and large laser out of the center torso, and replace them with medium pulse lasers. And let's max the armor on it.
The other fun thing I like to do that I could do as a clan player was I go through, I make 2C versions of mechs, and I go, and what I would do is I go to the technical readout of, like, say, the Wolverine, and it would be like, okay, it has these weapons, but it also has variants, and I would be like, okay, so I'm going to take the stock and all the variants and put it into one mech. Like, my Wolverine 2C was one of my favorites. It was a fun mech. But, yeah, it was just kind of funny to be like, huh, you have to change things around. Yeah, they won't fit otherwise. I'm like, interesting. You mean like this? How did you do that?
We're a clan.
It didn't work on things that were too different. And I felt like the ironic thing with Clan Mechs and Battletech was that the higher tonnage you got, it felt like the less efficient and bad they were. Like, I felt like a lot of my Clan Mechs were the best between 45 and 75 tons. Below that was just a bit too light, though very memey when you're just like, oh, yeah, my poor little light mech. With an ERPPC, you see it, suckers, it's just a locust. Bam! Zoop. But,
That's the Hollander.
yeah.
It's only a 35-ton mech. What the hell did they do? They gave it the A10 treatment. They took a gun, and they built a mech to hold the gun and shoot it.
Do we want to go on break?
We should probably just end if we're done.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were done.
Oh,
I know fuck all about your character, except for he's a skeleton fighter.
okay. Should we do character introductions and then call
Well,
it?
Sure.
Sorry.
No, I'm
We
just
can
go-
do break. We can go on break.
No, I don't mind either way. Like if we want to play another half hour, and then leave, like I'm fine with whatever. It's just
Yeah, we got.
Brian's throwing all sorts of spaghetti at the wall, and you're just sitting there in your own little box,
Admittedly.
not accepting any. Like you don't want a dual class, you don't want a free archetype, you don't want to do anything crazy. You just want to be a skeleton fighter with a big weapon. And then we don't know your background. We don't know who you know in the city, what you do. We just know that you're apathetic to being undead.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Are you
I
trying to
get
become
it.
human? Are
And
you?
that's so. Let's do break, and then let's go
Yeah.
do character introductions.
I think that's a good idea.
So we'll be back in 10 minutes.
So that's where I would get the living hair from. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where you get.
But you're a rat, so you could. I mean, we can say it's your tail. Like it doesn't matter. You have a
But-
hairy tail. Your tail is just hair. It's a. Oh, it's a. Oh, now damn it, we're live.
Yeah,
It's like a hair drain. You know what I mean?
yeah.
A hair
just-
clog.
Yeah. It's just disgusting. Get that away from me. It's always wet. Come on.
Welcome back,
nasty.
everyone. I'm sorry, I forgot you were there and just got talking about Battletech memories from years gone by. Anyway, so we're gonna do some more character questions and stuff for our upcoming Bloodlords game. Question I had was, do you guys want to know each other beforehand? Or do you want to be gathered up as prospective members of the community as problem-solving team?
I think it'd probably be easiest for us to know each other.
Yeah, because I don't think they want to gather me up as a problem solver. I think my character's more of the problem they want solved.
Given what I know about the about the Bloodlord in the area, I think she thinks you're adorable. So, I don't think she holds an attitude about you at all.
Well,
You may think that about yourself, but she won't.
okay.
So, if you guys know each other, that's fine. But how do you know each other?
Go to the daily bar to each other.
Don't go to bars.
You sit
So
there.
maybe they don't know me and she's just grabbing me because she's like, he's really good with a sword.
All I can think of is you go to the bar, you sit in there, and you just stare at the
No.
beer
no.
like, I want to drink.
I
that."
already pointed out that he spends as much time as he can just lying by the roadside, dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so
I mean, yes, people do probably realize he's actually undead.
yeah.
So currently, one idea is that this is all the entire beginning of the Bloodlords AP is just an intervention for poor Horus over here. Like,
Probably.
so my zombie Nagaji, your Isoki. I can't remember what you were in life. Ghost.
A halfling ghost.
Oh, I'm just a dude. I'm a human.
Okay.
Because I wanted to take the cooperative
Oh yeah.
nature feat.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I had to and everything else I want to get at level 2, I have to have an extra level 1 feat.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I imagine I'm trying to remember the name of the racial humans. I know a lot of them are Grundy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd have to look more, but basically I was probably tied to the not the reanimators, what
Tax collectors.
tax collectors. Thank you. Somehow, maybe I was murdered. I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
and then I was brought back as a ghost.
Okay. But yeah, so far, that's my one idea. Is we're gonna have three undead people who are gonna teach Horse about the wonders of being unalive.
Well, right now my character is an undead.
Right. You're just a rat folk dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just imagining her going, oh, really?
Yeah.
But
I'm
no,
thinking
okay.
probably more likely I was a peon for somebody in the tax collecting guild, and then because of the way it works, I now owe them money for making me a ghost instead of. Well, I guess being a ghost doesn't preclude your body from being something else, right?
Right.
Could I be his ghost? No.
Ghost, no. You could be if you were a zombie, I'd be like, oh yeah, you could be all of his fleshy bits that they stick
Oh.
together.
uh,
And you're like, hey, it's good to see a familiar face around here, right?
right. As a skeleton, he still has a soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's I read it and then I didn't understand it, but there was like a separation of soul from whatever, and I think that as a that's what it was. As a ghost, you're bound, and then you have like a reclamation, like I don't call it an atonement, but that's kind of what it is. Like you have a thing that helps you pass on,
Yeah.
and I don't ever want to pass on. Like
Yeah, if you're-
I'm from Gab, I love Gab. I wanna, now that I'm undead, I no longer have to worry about the crappy things that humans had to worry about, like sleep and eating and drinking and all the things he laments. I'm like, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore because now I have more time for work.
Mhm.
And he's like, work, shit. So,
Well,
but do you have like amnesia or anything? Like what?
I mean, again, it's very fuzzy. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what his
So-
old name was.
As a mystic,
He doesn't really know his old companions.
right?
He remembers
It's all fog.
flashes
Yeah.
of things, but he doesn't have a clear image of anybody.
I like that. I think we would know each other that way. Like she would, of course, level 1, I wouldn't be good at it, but I would be free, and it would be a way for me, like every now and again, using witch/psychic stuff, just be like tap into, like, what do you remember today? Not a psychiatrist, but like a psychiatrist.
Therapist.
Yeah. Like, what do you remember today? Well, I got a flash of, and it would just be like, we would just sit at a tavern and we would like hold office and we would just look at other people drinking
I
beers.
feel like it's more like whenever you get free time, where I
Yeah.
lie in the ground and you come out and bug me.
Yeah. Or somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey, that skeleton's doing that thing again. I'm like, okay, I'll go deal with them. Hey, let's get you some work today. What do you feel like doing? I think that's great.
He works as a scarecrow.
And then,
Just
if
prop
you're
me
cool
up,
with
put the
it,
clothes on and leave me be.
if you're cool with it, I like the idea that my ghosts, that eventually who will become my companion / familiar, are your haunts.
Yeah. And he actually disguises himself as undead half the time.
I love it.
I
Does-
mean, I have the play dead feat
That's great.
and deception.
Oh, and as a rogue, you can get feign death.
Yeah. Oh.
Where
what
you
the-
3 or 4 or
Oh.
something like that. You just collapse, and then they leave you alone because they think you're dead.
Well, I just figured he uses disguise to disguise himself as an undead rat,
Probably a zombie.
a
Yeah.
zombie rat. He does.
Or
He's not very.
He just wakes up and wraps himself in toilet paper every day.
He's not very. He's not very good at it.
There's
Which is-
part of me that's like, I feel like it should be feign life in Gib, but. instead
What
of
was your
feign
background
death-
again?
My background is warrior.
Oh, okay.
He was a fighter before.
Yeah.
He was a warrior, fighter, adventurer before he died. He doesn't remember where he died. He's pretty sure it wasn't in Geb.
Yeah. Like, I'm
but
thinking
he's
of
like pretty sure he was picked up by some wandering
no, yeah, I'm
necromancer.
thinking of Firefly when they send the body, they take it back home. Like somebody, like I don't even know what would sound or look like Geb, but somebody wrote like you died in wherever war you died in or battle you died in, and they posted on the coffin, return to whatever, return sender, and it's like, I don't know, Zeb or I don't know, but it's they just got it wrong and dropped you off, and you're like, they'll use it as skeleton,
Yeah, probably.
and then just the ambient energy. I mean, you could figure it out over X number of levels.
Like right now, I've in my head, his name is Horus because he was found by,
No, he's misplaced by the export,
no,
and
that could
now he's working for him, and he's like, I hate this life, I hate this job.
But yeah,
Because you want to
just
tie
had,
to a faction, and then you're like, they need to have better notes. Like this should never happen to anybody ever again.
but yeah, in my head it was he was by a sign that was supposed to say horse for sale, but they misspelled it.
Horus for sale.
And it was also like faded, so all it says is horse.
And they thought
Horse.
the C was the
Horus.
C was actually an S.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I'm like something funny like that where
Horse for
people
sale.
were like, maybe it looks like a horse.
Found him next to an undead horse.
Yeah.
A horse house.
The House of Horus.
Just discarded.
But yeah, no, he was probably raised as a skeleton, somehow survived it all long enough to gain that glimmer of what his life was, and now he's like, wow, I really wish I hadn't gained sentience again.
Yeah, reanimators probably you're just another corpse, and then you're
Yeah,
just
they're-
like,
There's nothing in place for their mental well-being.
this is awful.
He put a little bit too much oomph into the raised.
Wow, I
skeleton
can't believe
spell.
I paid 10 silver for that. All right, excuse me.
He put a little bit too much oomph into that spell, and he gained sentience.
I like it more over time. Just
Yeah.
one day he wakes up and is like, the heck am I farming?
Yeah, no, I think that's what it is. He kind of just like, what? I'm dead. Very dead. I'm gonna go to the bar and drink.
I can't.
Can't taste it. Doesn't affect me. Food? And it just probably was like someone said, look, you're a skeleton. There's really nothing you can do. Go back to work.
Yeah, you
No, this sucks.
collect bones to heal yourself.
Yeah, I know.
As a ghost, I have undead, which I think is apropos for a witch psychic. As I feed off of, maybe I'm like, you're food to me. You're
Maybe.
yeah, you're
His apathy.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Oh, it sucks that. Oh, she's pretty, isn't she? Like I'm not going to be an asshole about it, but I think that's a really good interaction. Yeah,
You tried to be a therapist, but you're really just feeding
I'm
off
making it
my
worse.
misery.
Yeah. Oh no.
You get
And then
a
you're like,
little-
hey, I had an epiphany. I'm like, ah, crap.
get a little ghostly straw and said, yeah, tell me all about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, your rage is delicious.
And that's why you keep him, them around.
I don't know. Her
Yeah,
starting to sound fun.
Yeah, because you're like, fine.
I don't have a. Oh no, yeah. I think the two ghost miniatures I have, one is decidedly female. So, yeah, I think I'll go girl. I mean, which implies it, not nominatively, but not necessary. But I think an Annalise, my summoner style look, beautiful. Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, because she's totally a belly dancer looking in my mind. Yeah. Oh, no, that's even. You're like, oh, you're so pretty.
Yeah,
She's
that's
not.
the thing. It's
But
like-
she's like Trelawney. She has glasses, and she's not a.
yeah, but he
sexy.
still sees a female and is like,
yeah, I get it.
And you're just like,
it's not even bad
it's
that
so
I can't touch you.
wonderful being a belly dancer. Look how much more flexible I am.
I'm just like,
Stop it.
There's no
stop.
there's no spine to get in the way.
Just stop. Stop doing that. I'm gonna go lay down by the side of the road again.
Let's see, and then
Because it is. It's like, horse is moping again. Why? He went and lay down by the road again.
Doc went over and peed on him and he didn't even notice.
He wouldn't. He wouldn't care. He can't even feel it.
your Ahsoka makes sense hanging around him because you're like, everyone else has that glimmer of you could be undead at any moment and it would be cool, and you're like, except for this one.
He doesn't look like he wants to eat me at all. Oh, is that a new feat? Pet? Apparently humans can get... I guess not. It's a general feat, so everybody can get a familiar now.
Yeah.
Is it really a familiar or is it just a pet?
It's your level's equal to yours, and it gets 2 actions when you command it. And you don't need to attempt a nature check. Oh, but it can't make strikes, so it is familiar.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't ever say familiar. Can I
It
get a
just
third?
doesn't have any abilities beyond the basic familiar.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like the witch's familiar that they built to do.
Yeah, you
stuff.
get one ability and it doesn't scale. Like you don't get more.
And depending on the animal you choose, that you may not get much choice about the ability.
Yeah. Well, I'm debating if I want to take Fleet to improve my speed to 30, which will be useful for Fly as a Gust, or an extra skill.
Yeah, that's like one of the interesting things they have about skeletons. One of their heritages. It's called fodder. And what it does is it's basically, it's so easy to raise you into undead, you're actually faster.
Oh, nice.
So he's got a 30-foot move speed.
Yeah, I have a ton of skills already. So I think you and I will be similar. I think rogues get more. No, they get more advances. They don't get more skills.
Right.
I have a bunch.
Ugh.
So Mystic gives me a plane, and then in the guide it says that Shadow is a good option, and I don't know where ghosts go,
Like,
because that would be the plane that I would. Because I'd be like, I don't want anything to do with that. I want to stay. No. And then I have legal because of tax collectors, and then I have undead lore because it said it was a good idea.
yeah. I don't remember ghosts being tied to a plane before.
It doesn't really say anything here.
I guess it's just any of the undead, not the undead, the like Elysium or Hell, Tartarus, Hades, whatever. I don't know what they're called, but because it's like several different planes have different afterlives, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they used to. Who knows what they're doing now? 'Cause
That's fair.
It was based. It was based off of your alignment, so it just reflected your ideal world. And it's like,
Right.
I always thought it was funny because people were like, "But going to going to hell is bad." And it's like, yeah, it's except for if you are like that person who's like, finally a place I can thrive.
I'll probably just presume Shadow because it said it was good.
Yeah. Because the Shadow Plane's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that extra planar because it's just kind of on the back side of the material plane, basically.
Yeah. It's like a dull, darkened reflection, basically.
Hmm.
I like that. Well, unless you're willing to allow me to replace it with like Geb or something, but I'm fine with it as is. It's from my background anyway, so it's free.
Hmm.
And I probably won't ever, like, I took them to be trained, and I probably won't ever scale them up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that would be something. Do you guys want your background lore to scale up, sort of like what's the other one?
the gnome one.
No, well, that one does it too, but the regular additional lore feat automatically scales your lore up. So at 3, it would automatically go to expert.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if it will ever come up, if your lore will ever come up, but it can be a fun thing to reflect. Yeah, I knew a lot about this in my past, and it stayed relevant with me.
I wouldn't mind it.
I'm fine with it.
So, yeah, your background lore, just treat it as if you had taken the additional lore feat, and it'll scale
Okay,
on
so
its own.
scaling, background lore. So yours is what, warfare?
Yeah.
That's cool. So if we ever have tactics conversations later, you're still good. Not that you have the int to raise or the skill feats to raise it anyways, but
Yeah. No.
Well,
'cause
but
you're gonna
it
want to
really
predominantly
is.
do like athletics and then maybe
And deception
stealth,
mostly.
deception. Yeah,
Deception is what I use for the play dead.
yeah. And are you doing bard dual class
I'm not dual classing, but I'll take it as a dedication.
as your free archetype?
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Because I was like, I don't
So
want you
I'll
to feel
still
like you're stuck in
get
the
it.
charisma. Yeah.
There's a silver rate, which is
Yeah.
fine. It's not as overwhelming for him.
Well, I'm just making notes about characters, so I want to put
Yeah.
FA. No, put none. I'm going to put bard. I
Let's see.
like that. Is there like I know first edition there was the Dirge Bard. Is there a simulacrum of that in second edition?
I just took the warrior bard.
Oh, that makes sense for you
That imposes penalties.
to undead. Yeah.
Since a lot of undead weirdly aren't immune to mental, most of the bard stuff still works on them.
Oh, cool.
And you can still intimidate and scare a surprising number of undead now.
Nice.
So it would just be Dirge of Doom to
Okay.
impose that frightened
Did you end up
condition.
going free archetype or anything? I know you
Well,
did dual class.
Dual class, I didn't think about doing an archetype because I was.
Okay.
It's depending on how I can do it with Path Builder.
Yeah.
Depending on what I can do. It's either I'm going to be dual class with Witch or I'm going to do archetype Witch. Depending on how Path Builder will let me do it.
I know I paid for mine, and it allows for dual class. You just have to set that as an
Yeah.
option.
Well, I have it on. I paid for both on my computer and my phone.
Yeah. So let's see. You're going to be alive, Fred.
Yeah, I'm probably the only living one. Though he'll use disguise as he'll try to make himself look undead because he's terrified of being eaten by zombies.
Okay.
And I figured he'd probably work for either the. I don't know how that would work because I'm going to use my background as haunted because that's why he's in Geb, because he's always ghosts seem to follow him for some strange reason.
Mhm.
But I also took for the witch would be the spinner of threads, and for the rogue would be thief.
Okay.
Is Necrol the official language of Geb?
The official language is Osiriani.
Oh, okay. That's
That's the common. And then Necrol is super common because all undead speak it, and they think the living don't know how to speak it, so a lot of the living in Geb tend to pick up Necrol.
okay. Yeah, I get a couple extras. So I have common, Necrol, Siriani, and then whatever makes sense.
I forgot what was suggested. What the other languages suggested. I think
And
they
it-
did
and he's
Dwarven and Havum.
I think he's terrified of his familiar because his familiar's a spider,
Hmm.
and
Nice.
he doesn't really like spiders that much.
Yeah, I get that.
And so does my daughter. And I almost want to do an undead spider, but I don't know if you can do that. He keeps stepping on it, trying to get it to go away.
I don't see much of a difference, so I won't make you pay more abilities to be an undead spider that you keep squishing and that it keeps following you around.
And it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Kalashite?
Yeah, that would be a. What is it?
It's a human,
Kalashite?
human ancestor.
Mhm.
I thought. Probably just confusing. Because I thought Kalash was spoken up north.
I think so. I mean, wouldn't Garundi be there?
Yeah, so the
Or Mwangi?
ethnicities are Grundi, Mwangi, and Kalashite.
Yeah.
Kalashite's one I haven't seen before.
Hmm.
Because Bathory was half orc Mwangi. He was half human, half orc.
Kalash is.
Ah, hey! Warfare lore will have use. That's what it says. Mercantile, Urgathoa, or warfare lore. Nice. Cool. Yeah, I think Halfling's. Well, I don't know who. Halfling would make sense for the reanimators, but I don't really have a huge tie to them, so I wouldn't learn their language. I know that they're like the second most numerous race.
Yeah. That's right.
And, yeah, and it would make sense for me to learn Rat Folk just for reasons, but it wouldn't. You and I don't have that type of relationship yet.
Well, he's like sitting there trying to drink a beer, and all of a sudden he goes to reach for it, and his beer's not there. It's like moved over here, and he's like, "Knock it off, Sam."
And then you just have to know what skill your ghost is attached to for haunted. Because you get haunted and you get occultism and you get to pick a skill. And your ghost is always aiding you, so you get +1 circumstance to that skill whenever you use it. But if you fail, you become frightened too using that skill.
What's this?
The haunted background.
Oh, background. Okay. I
And
was like-
then if you critically fail that skill, you're frightened for from your ghost being
So-
unhappy with your performance.
Which is good, because that's what my witch stuff. No, that's what my psychic stuff does with the guidance. You're like, oh, I critically failed. I go, is a +2 help? Yep. All right, good. So that's good.
So, just note what skill you picked for haunted.
Okay, haunted needs a skill. Because it gives me occultism, which I thought it would be good for the witch too.
Yeah, occultism is also. has
Well,
a
and then
bunch
you
of nice
pick a skill that
feats.
you're It's a different skill. It could also be occultism, that you're getting a flat +1/2 at all times.
I figured it'd be thievery.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes So then when you critically fail, the ghost is like sitting on your shoulder, going, "Hey, you did that wrong, Jesus." That's why you crack. Skyrim.
It's your abusive father. I told you, turn left now.
Oh God. Third pin, not fourth, you fool. Oh my God.
Not only does the trap blow up in your face, but now your angry father is scared.
So I'm 100% evil. I have to be for the Undead Master archetype. I'm at best. I'm assuming you're neutral something.
Neutral good,
Yeah, and then
because he does
neutral
try to
something.
respect
He's more
life.
chaotic than anything.
chaotic neutral, chaotic evil. I mean, I know that whatever,
Yeah.
but
To me, it'd be more chaotic neutral because he's like, I'm gonna go over there.
Awesome.
Oh, there's a vampire there. No, I'm gonna go over here now.
you're like, I have proposed to the spirits, and they have told me no.
And
But
and it's like the goes there's a vampire over there. Okay, I'm gonna go over here now. No, there's a vampire over there too. Okay, I'm just gonna sit right here.
I don't know what your character's name is. Some vampires are nicer than others.
He goes, they eat me.
That's a
No,
lie.
you're dead, right?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Vampires universally suck. All of them.
That's right.
But not you, because you're too hairy. They don't like getting the fur caught in their teeth.
Yeah.
Well, this is why. It's because your hair defends you. They're like, hello, and your hair is like, what the?
Yeah, because I did take.
We're having a moment here, I thought. You promised to be my thrall forever, and you're like, third ex-wife. We're done.
The fourth.
Fourth already? My God.
I don't remember the third.
Probably for the best.
You're like the Geb version of the MGTOW. I'm the living going our own way. We don't need be no servants. No relationship with hot vampires. That just makes you weak.
He's always mumbling to himself, probably because he's always talking to the whatever's haunted. Finally, he went over to the other side. That's what you think. Ah, shit.
Alright. And then I think I'll just, as you guys get your characters more finalized, I'll also think about cleric. Make sure the cleric is everything I want it to be. I have to accommodate you, dumb living person. Ergothoa says you're okay, but I don't think you are.
Well, I was trying to think of. 'Cause the only other thing I could think of doing with instead of which is all armament is Cauldron,
Yeah. Well,
but I wasn't really sure on that one.
like I said, attacking with witch's hair was a fun thing I thought of. So you don't have to follow my dream, Fred.
Well, I was just trying
Well,
to.
and if we do the APB, then it just needs to be finesse. It doesn't matter. Just you want your hands free, because if you can still use a shield, particularly a buckler, you just can't shield block with it unless you spend the feat for it. So raising a shield and attacking with your hair gives you a decent armor class even at level 1. And as long as it's finesse, because you're a thief, you get to add dex to damage, which I don't think any other class or build in the game gets that.
I imagine you with the tower shield. Just hiding behind it, hair streaking out.
Well, yeah,
attacking
well,
enemies.
I was like, weird. what's it called? Everstand?
Everstand
You just, like,
stance.
Double shielding, and then you have a weird hair. your cowlick.
You have that anime hair just flicks out
Yeah.
like a whip.
It goes up to what, 2 feet or something like that?
But I had I don't remember, it was a Marvel comic. There's a character by the name of Medusa. She's an Inhuman. And at one point, because she's strong too, at one point she's lifting I think it's it's just a metal door that's been bent. I think Black Bolt knocked it down. And she's running, and her hair is just while she's running down the corridor. And I was like, oh, it's such a good concept. You know, I wonder if I could build that. I couldn't. I could now because if we're doing remaster, rogues have martial proficiency. They didn't have it prior.
Yeah.
So your weapon, just so many good finesse martial weapons. Oh no, we're not doing APB. We're doing or ABP. We're doing like the buyer shit. I don't think we agreed. I kind of whatever, but I'm good either way.
Yeah. I didn't hear any strong things. So right now,
I thought Casey would be cool with it because it's just less he has to deal with. He's like, oh, I just got a flat bonus. Awesome. All my weapons get +1. Done.
like,
No, you can go fighter, dual class, giant instinct barbarian, and really get a big sword.
That is true.
Do that. Do it.
Hold my mighty boner. His mighty club.
So dual class also gives you an additional +1 at first level.
+1 what?
So your dual class, you get
Yeah.
your both gives you a bonus. So as a barbarian fighter, you'll get +1 strength, +1 strength from your class bonus.
So he'd be at 20 strength?
You can't go above 18, so you'd have to choose a different one for fighter. But it gives you a free somewhere else, like Dex or whatever.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying.
You know what? It could be.
I was like,
Here, let me see. Nope, you could absolutely get 2 strength. It doesn't say illegal for the dual class. So yeah, you get +5 strength. That's dumb. I love it.
It is dumb, and I love it too. And there's a hell of a lot less with Barbarian than there is with Bard.
Agreed. Yeah, and if you did you could do it as a dual class, or you could do it as a dedication. It's up to you, but
Oh, Barbarian's not in this.
yeah.
Are barbarians in the second one then?
They're
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
to be.
they're soon.
It's more going to be.
So
All right, so yeah, we'll do that. We'll
Alright.
dual class fighter barbarian.
finish. Save character.
but basically, all the troublesome kids got put into.
Exit the start
Player
page.
core
Create new
2.
character.
Yeah.
Because in a way, I thought the wizard would be in the second one too. Because they didn't really do much with wizard.
All right.
Yeah, like
Okay, we're doing.
going with actual.
Oh, you don't want to do free archetype, but you do want to do dual class. And we're not using APB, so we are good there. Done, done, and done. Save to G drive. Ancestry rare skeleton. Accept. Background warrior, you said?
Warrior, yeah.
But
I get the feeling that's going to change my hit points too.
Yeah, because
Because I'll
barbarian will
take
overtake.
Barbarian.
there's
So-
a decent number of people unhappy with the remaster wizard because
Alright, your heritage, you took fodder,
a
you said?
spell school
Yeah, fodder.
used to represent like a whole range of different spells,
Okay,
and now it's
do you do standard ability, or do you want to do the alternative?
3 or
The
4 choices every
alternative
level.
is just flat
Yeah, I wasn't.
2, or you can do the minus intelligence. You're good either way.
I wasn't sure about
Because
it.
you're going to want to, if you're not going to do the bard, then you don't care about charisma.
Yeah, I don't care
except for,
about
like, if you can do
charisma.
scared
I'll
to death or
probably.
whatever.
Well, I do want charisma because I still use it for deception
And intimidate. That's fair.
and intimidate.
Okay, so let's do that. So what we're so you have have 6.
Okay, so this is what the array
Okay.
is.
So we have 6 bases. So you're gonna go strength. So, is that your race? No, this is your race.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you're doing standards.
Standard
Yep.
skeleton.
So we're going strength, dex, charisma minus intelligence. Beautiful. Background boost. +2 to strength. +2 to con. Class boost. Strength. And then strength again, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I think it only gives you one.
Yeah, you're right. So Dex Con, or Charisma, whatever. So Strength, Con, Intelligence to get rid of the 0, and
Wow.
Charisma. So if you want, yep. So if you go class boost, you have your option of Dex Con, Int, Wisdom, or Charisma for the Barbarian.
I would probably take con. Push
Okay.
it up to +3.
Yep. So 4. Yep. Strength 4, Con 3, Wiz 0, Dex 1, Int 0, Con or Charisma 2. All right. Class skill. I assume. Oh, gave you athletics from. So you have to take
Athletics
acrobatics.
from fighter.
Yep. So you have to take acrobatics,
So, okay.
and then you get 3 from skill training.
3 more?
Yep.
Oh.
So deception for sure.
I took deception. Yeah.
Yep. Intimidate you get for free.
Free.
from Barbarian. Warfare you have for free. So you want stealth?
Yeah, I took stealth and thievery.
And thievery. Okay, well, thievery's up to you. That we have our stupid rogue.
It felt right for the
Sure.
character.
Valid, absolutely valid. I thought survival as well, but yep.
No,
So that-
survival was like, is it thievery or is it survival?
No, you're
I'm
good.
a skeleton. I don't need to
All right.
survive. Thievery.
Ancestry feat. You took play dead.
Played it, yeah.
All right. Barbarian feat. So acute vision, adrenaline rush, moment of clarity, raging intimidation, raging thrower, or sudden charge.
What does... Well, I got sudden charge from fighter.
Yeah, barbarian is B and fighter is F, so I'm just going down.
Okay.
So, yeah. Raging intimidation. While you are raging, your demoralized and scared to death actions gain the rage trait, allowing you to use them while you are raging. And as soon as you meet the prerequisites for intimidating glare and scared to death, you gain them.
Well, I got intimidating glare from fighter, I think. Yeah, the warrior gave me intimidating glare. Background. Yeah, the warrior background gave me intimidate and
Oh, you are correct.
intimidating glare.
It'd be more. Do you plan to use intimidate while you're raging?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, because this will. Well, so right now, while you're raging, you can't intimidate.
I understand.
But with this, you could.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I would probably take that just
Yep.
to do that.
Yeah. You get it. Yeah. So you'd have
So
you could
what is it?
intimidating glare twice. So if you would like, you could look for a background similar to warrior that gives you a different feat.
I mean, guard is the next one. That's similar.
So warrior is what was it, strength con? Yeah, strength or con and warfare lore and intimidating glare. So let's look up skills. No.
No, it
Abilities,
would
we want
be
strength.
Background.
And then
And I think guard is another background that is almost the same thing as warrior.
yeah, getting there.
Let's see.
It gives a different
And
feat. I know
quick,
that.
Yeah,
Quick
well, it gives you
coercion.
legal lore or warfare, and then quick coercion.
Yeah.
That's coercion's deception, right?
No,
No.
that's intimidate.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, there you go. That works out real well. So guard is a better background for you, and then it doesn't change your ability boost at all. Perfect.
I just spelled
And it-
coercion.
Oh Christ.
COERCION.
C-I-O. Yeah. It's like it took me a minute. You can coerce a creature after 1 round of conversation instead of 1 minute. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Good job. And then for fighter feat, you took sudden charge, correct?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then for your instinct, we're going giant because why not?
Yeah. What was the barbarian feat I took?
Raging intimidation.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So there's all the information for up to level 1. And you can write it down, and then I can save it, and then I can send you a link, and then you can look at it anytime. And I can also rebuild it on the website and print it, do whatever you need. I love, yeah, that really makes sense. Like some giant barbarian dies, and now all of a sudden,
Well, he's not a giant barbarian. He's a human.
yeah, who's a giant barbarian? That's your instinct.
Oh yeah. Who?
Yeah, and then I don't know. I'm sure there's some. It was scrawled in runic, and they mistook the runic for Geb.
Okay. So hit points is 21.
Yeah. So, would you gain like three hit points,
3.
something like that? Yeah.
He's gonna find out that he was a giant, but he was cursed to human size.
Yeah. he was small boned. He was the runt of the giant litter.
He's the Hagrid of the giant family.
Yeah. You were only 8 feet tall. Psh.
Tiny. Get out of here. I guess I'll go die and get.
Okay, so that makes him an expert in will as well.
Expert in what?
Will saves.
Oh, yeah. Because you get the better of the 2.
Yeah.
Though if I did that, I'd be pushing more for the superstition instinct. It's like, you don't know why you don't trust magic. But you don't.
Those slightly different AP, that'd be fun. But do a halfling superstitious, because they also have there's a halfling that doesn't distrust magic or something like that. I can't remember. They get a +1 versus certain effects, typically magical ones. I don't know.
Dwarves have it for sure. They have a reaction to quickly get like +1 or 2 against a magic effect, like ancient blood.
Oh, I
or
think you're
something
right.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do the same for you with my path builder.
Well, I was just
But
figuring.
you can do it when you get home, as long as you
Okay.
have all the proper information. Right?
Yeah. That's what
Are
I
you
was
just
saying.
gonna buy it? Is that what you're trying to do?
I was trying to do it, and it's being annoying because it's.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay. About. Where is perception? Okay. Yep, that's okay.
Yep.
So, he gets acrobatics, right?
Okay. So I saved it for you. And then
I already purchased gear, so
Yep.
we're good there.
yeah, you said chain, right?
Chainmail. Chainmail, a great sword, a crossbow, and an adventurer's pack.
So that's it. Rogue Witch.
So it's a large size greatsword now?
I think it goes up when he rages, doesn't it?
Nope. You can equip it large size as if it was the normal size. Yeah. So, yeah, yeah, you're good. It's bigger than Amari's sword.
That's because of a rule change. Let's see, what was relic? That's what I wanted to look at.
EFG. I can't spell. Plus 9 to hit. 1d12 plus 4. It's gonna kill everything.
Let's try to remember with Giant Instinct, it's
Say again?
plus 6.
What?
So it'd be Giant Instinct when he rages, it's plus 6 from their rage, I think. Because they get a big.
If the weapon is sized 1, yes.
Yeah.
So,
So D12
so
plus
yeah,
10.
d12 plus 4 plus 6
Yeah.
at level 1.
Oh, is that the other plus 6
For
for being
rage, yeah.
large?
As long as it's large. If you have a large weapon while you're raging, you deal 6 instead of 2 for your rage.
Ah,
So yeah, so it's 1d12 plus 4, and you add a plus 9 to hit.
yep.
And then your rage instinct as you deal, I believe it's 6. Instinct, where are you at? Yeah, so clumsy 1, wielding the weapon,
Yeah.
and your rage damage goes from 2 to 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great, because I'm just like, I can... No, that's a different build. I was like, I can do... There's a build where I can do shield on somebody else. Which is pretty good. So the only difference is the great sword costs 2 gold. It's now 4 gold. But it's large.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I have 4 silver left.
Is that what it's telling me? You should have 5 gold left.
Are you including the crossbow and bolts?
Oh no, I didn't. No, I just I only bought the armor and the sword. Sorry.
And the adventure spec?
And a toothbrush.
In my case, I just get a back brush and use it all as a whole body brush.
Oh,
I would have loved it if that was in the Book of the Dead to be like, for the for skeletons grooming themselves, they prefer toothbrushes.
Like I said, no, it's I get a full body. I get a full body brush.
That's gonna be great. I have to look into relics, see if I want to do it. I was like tempted to make your big old sword some special story item for you, but I never looked at relics before, so
all right. What else did you buy?
look at some.
So I have 5 silver left. I go out the crossbow, the adventure pack, and what else?
Bolts.
Bolts. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
You don't use one of your ribs?
Ribs are curved.
I'm just kidding.
There's a pill for that. They
There
can't
really
take
isn't.
anymore.
There you go. And then I'll save that. Accept. Bangering. And that's your character's name is Horus.
Horus. Horus.
Oh, like Horus Raw.
Horus.
Horus. Okay. I went HORACE.
I know. I looked at him like,
Why'd you
Yeah,
tell me, you
well-
jerk?
well, I am now.
You're like 2 hours later, you shit. Perfect.
The name's Horus. Horus Heresy.
That's right.
How much do I say my his name is Midnight just because that's the only time or noon.
Nyx. I think Nyx, NYX or NIX means dark. Oh Christ! I used to know the Greek word for midnight, and now I can't remember.
Is
I
it
know-
Nox?
That might be, yeah, that might be what I'm thinking of.
I think it's Nox. Nox.
Yeah. But I think Nox is darkness, but it
Yeah.
means like the pinnacle of darkness. I think
Yeah.
you're right. Which, yeah.
Then I started thinking, oh yeah, we're in Geb, so he probably only comes out during daylight just to avoid the vampires.
That's, I mean, that's not the worst idea you've ever had.
Well,
And it's so innocuous because they wouldn't eat you anyways. They're like, there's so many better options.
the
But you get-
vampires, the shades, the ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things prefer than that in Geb.
So I was thinking he'd probably be out more in daylight most of the time anyway.
Mhm.
Do you have a positive intelligence?
Yeah, it's
It'd be fairly smart. If you're that type of rat and you want to lean into it, to have Dwarven as a language and then have a relationship with the dwarves who build the tunnels.
Yeah, I was trying to. That'd be.
I mean, you do
ancestry
you.
feat.
I'm just
know,
trying
I
to give you
just-
ties to the
yeah.
game.
Because I'm not familiar with Geb, so that's ancestry.
Yeah,
feats.
they start with a K. There's a type of dwarf that lives there.
Yeah, I think it was Kellanite.
Something like that. They're not the Aboriginal dwarves, the albino ones, right?
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't think so. Because those are like deep in the heart of Mwangi.
Yeah. Get back to the player's guide. Here we go. Let's see. Information about Grey Dirge.
Okay, so. What's a rat folk space speed? Is it also 25?
It's 25.
Okay. We need to get you a fleet as soon as possible.
There they are. Coolanet. Coolanet.
And they just dig tunnels in Geb.
They're
That's where they live.
yeah.
They do dwarven things under Geb, and they'll build it for vampires. They'll build it for whoever prefers it. They're also highly prolific in the maintaining and building of the earthen buildings above Geb. So I think the foreman. I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the NPCs, but I think the foreman is a dwarf for that guild. But they're. I mean, it's easy. They're there. People don't know, and they're just like, "Here's some money. Go build." Okay. Overnight, the Amish just, there's a building, we're done. My initial idea was to do a contractor dwarf earth kineticist, and that'd be his whole shtick. Just now that we're doing, no, I can't. I want to go full bore. I've never played a kineticist in second edition, and I wanted to, and a dwarf would be a really good earth one to do. But they don't. I mean, there's a lot of good free archetypes, but there's not really any good dual classes because they don't do strikes or cast spells. They do, and I don't want to do barbarian because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a lot of synergy there.
Yeah. Like, I think
A crafter?
alchemists.
Yeah,
would
thank
work,
you. I was like,
with probably like a mutagenist to like drink the things to boost your attacks, and then use your blasts and stuff to do stuff. But I'm not familiar with kinesis, so
I'll consider it. It's not a bad idea.
but yeah, as far as I know, what little I've read in the player's guide about the Coolnet dwarves, it's sort of a they mostly work underground so that everybody ignores them, and it works. The undead are like whatever, and because they're hardly ever seen, and the dwarves get to stay alive.
Yeah.
And then they occasionally contract them out.
Yeah, there's. I think there's a fun. I was reading. Somebody posted it. That's why I got the idea for the dwarf contractor.
Mhm.
The Geb laws say anybody who dies on Geb soil has to be raised, Well, the dwarves say, well, we're not on the soil, we're below it. And it's like, it's a fun dichotomy. So this is 80%, 75%. The all in for the ghost, especially with the ties to the haunted background and the apathy like eating. But if I were to play something different, I think the kineticist dwarf something investigator, or because all they care about is con, so that gives me a secondary stat to play around with. So, or tertiary stat because I want strength as well. But you know what I mean.
I mean, like they do have the melee attacks with them, so, and they get to add to their strength and con.
So maybe I could do a ruffian rogue.
Yeah.
Because then I still get all those
lots of
feats.
skills.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good idea. Oh, then I can still do. I just don't do the ghost stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I don't have to be living or undead. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's such a good idea. Well, now I feel stupid. 3 hours later, I'm coming up with a whole nother concept.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll finalize when we start Bloodlords eventually.
I'll build this and print this, and then I'll build the other and print it, and then I'll just decide.
Because I believe next Friday will be
Traveler.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh.
we're going to have at least a couple of weeks to figure out when we're going to play Bloodlords.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. That's awesome. All right, well.
Yeah.
I think
Ha-ha!
it's protected.
I got Casey to accept a dual class. He's like, no, it's an easy sell. It was such an easy sell.
It was an easy sell. I'm not going to deny it was not an easy sell. For Giant Instinct Barbarian. Okay, I play Barbarian a lot.
Yeah. Well, I was like, you played Amari so much, and that's what she does. And he's like, you're just cooler than her because you're a skeleton with a sword that's like 8 feet tall. Because her bastard sword is a giant sword, but it's only 6 feet tall. Because it's like a half a foot taller than her. And this is a great sword, which is already much larger than a bastard sword.
Yep.
So you have a buster sword that's even bigger than a buster sword.
Yeah, effectively.
You're just like, how do you do that one-handed? You don't do one-handed, but
That's not a sword. That's a sword.
pull out my rapier. What the? It's just like not even hiding it. You just pull it off your back, but it's that's a sword. I know. That's great.
And then I ruin it by making Casey say, okay, every time you rage, you have to shout Electrock like Apache Chief in Super Friends.
I don't even know that one.
Oh,
Why does your sword look exclusively like a mech sword? And size to boot.
stole it from one of the Nexus golems. As every teenage skeleton does.
That's not how you spell kineticist. C-I-S-T.
Let's see. Anything else you guys want from the campaign? Fun stuff? Treats? Dead stuff?
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Be interesting.
It's going to be an interesting campaign.
I like that there's definitely combat where people will for sure get to shine, but there's also like, hey, you can't just be there. You have to have some form of, like, I won't call it desire, but aspirations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it even tells you if you don't want to be Bloodlord, this is not your adventure path. So in case he gets to think about.
I mean, he can grow into the idea of wanting to be.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you need to be that way right now, because we're certainly not going to be Bloodlords anytime soon.
I know.
But think about aspirations for your character, like what, you know, what of the status quo do you want to change or you feel needs to be changed? You know, and then by that same measure, you're like, I want my body back. Absolutely something you can do.
What he would want to be changed is stop raising people.
Well, that's not going to happen in Geb.
I understand.
Stop raising people without their
Consent.
consent. Yeah. So maybe you're pushing undead consent laws.
Yeah.
Like that's perfectly valid.
Living consent laws.
Both. I mean, they're mere opposite sides of the same coin. Because not all undead, after they become raised, have rights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe you're like, well, both living rights and undead rights. Like, yeah. I just something to think about.
I mean, the reanimators with all the mindless undead, they're like, you ain't get a choice.
Yeah.
Work the fields. So.
Yep. Work the
Yeah.
fields until you're ash. We don't give a shit. We got 18 more of you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
That's
very simple,
definitely
but a highly
good.
effective path to pursue. So.
Mhm.
And then maybe
What about you, Frederick? What's your character? Any ideas what your character might want to change about Geb, life in Geb?
Right now, the only thing I can think is living rights to not get fed on.
That's a hard sell.
yeah,
But-
yeah.
I mean,
That's why you aim for the top to do it.
They have to have consent to feed on you.
Or
Oh, ghouls.
what's the not? I mean, consent helps, but like when you pay somebody for a service, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because depending on where you like your position of power, you just be like, like, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because he's probably, what I'm thinking is that he probably lives below the dwarves, if not the dwarves. So,
Below with the dwarves? Or
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
go-
I was
yeah.
like, you live below the dwarves. You're digging deeper than they are. Holy shit.
He's a mouse.
Yeah.
So,
Is there a way to get him a burrow speed?
at level 2.
All right. Really?
I don't.
Oh, I don't. Makes sense. I was
It
like,
wouldn't
that's cool.
surprise me.
I was like, that's a
There's probably some way to do it. I
That's a
just
niche
don't
build.
know.
There's not very many races or classes that get access to a burrow speed. That's a really good thing if you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just also kind of hard because you're limited to the base burrow ability is just limited to kind of loose earth.
Yeah.
So sand and stuff like that. You hit a rock and you're like, I don't know what to do. Whereas most of the time when we imagine burrow speeds running around, we're like,
It's like
rock, steel, diamonds, we don't care. We go right through. Sand.
It's like when I say dwarf, movement rate 6.
Yep.
Mm.
Cool.
There's an unscalable cliff. I'm a dwarf. I move at 6.
So- Either I'll have ties to the tax collectors or I'll have ties to the builders.
Okay.
We'll think. I'll see.
Have
There's
you-
no other class except for, does any yeah, is there another class that gets skill feats like rogues do?
Investigator.
Ooh.
Investigator
So
actually
you
gets
could
him
do
better.
a class rogue investigator and end up with
All the
what,
skills.
10 legendary skills.
Jesus Christ.
That'd be funny.
We need to do that instead of witch. Oh my god.
I'm thinking he didn't really have much choice because he became a witch.
He made a deal to live.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
But right now it's
Wha-
still the spinner of threads.
that's a good one. Like, what prompted you to take witch in the first place? God, man, English is not my forte.
I
today.
really don't know. It just popped in my head.
Well, that we were talking about being able to attack with your hair,
Yeah, that.
Oh, right.
which was it would work in the dual class, but not as a witch. And it works. And there are further hair feats that they can take at 4, 6, and
powerful hair, like grappling hair, some of that cool
And-
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
8. They don't do anything for a witch.
Right.
And if you do it as a dedication, you're waiting till
4,
8,
8,
12,
yep.
and 16 to finally take them. And it's like, but in dual class it works.
Right at level 1.
And you can take more of those hair feats.
Yeah.
I forgot all they did, but I was like, oh, yeah, they expanded on them.
Yeah, I'd have to.
Useless.
Cool.
Uh,
Yeah, just like a rough dwarven foreman, like, let's get to work.
So the only other one I could think of taking would be Cauldron.
Yeah.
Yeah, what, you make like potions and stuff?
Yeah, you can make potions, but you
Yeah,
only can make 2, I think.
Witch Alchemist is really, really good. It's just like,
I never played a witch, and the only witch that I really had was when I played Emerald Spire, and that witch wasn't very good.
Well,
well, the Witch in 1 edition was really good. I had a halfling unluck witch that was like, they had a feat, they could take like Jinx, I think it was.
yeah.
Halflings specifically were really strong witches in
Well,
first edition.
I think it had to do with the person who was designing it.
Like,
Oh, maybe.
AJ's Witch's only problem was 2 things. One, you guys are dragging your feet about every single door, and he was just tired of it, and so he ran into every trap.
Yeah, that was the problem. Is he's like, would somebody go?
Damn it.
And then the second thing is that he forgot to memorize any defensive spells like Mirror Image to keep himself safe. So when things like, I don't know, a tiny lava dragon comes knocking his way because he's tired of being cursed all the time by the witch, and the witch has no defenses, it's like, oh, well, this, please attack anyone else or roll bad on both those dice. And his luck just ran out. At least in time I played them.
Well, the last time we played, well,
We pretty much got TPK'd.
we got TPK'd because we tried to skip one of the rooms and go to a different room, and then we triggered both encounters at the same time.
It wasn't that we tried to skip it. It's we went to a room. The creature had a really stupid ability.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it triggered both rooms and it basically killed all of us.
I wasn't there, but I heard
No.
all about it, and I was like, yep, that's a dumb ability. And because it wasn't just one of those creatures with dumb abilities, it was 3.
Yeah.
And yeah. That's the thing I don't miss.
That's the thing. Yeah. And I couldn't GM that one. I had to play that one. So Krista GM'd that one, and Krista is extremely brutal as a GM.
Mhm.
Krista doesn't do things
Yeah,
for
she's-
fun.
yeah.
Krista does things to kill you.
Yeah.
It's mostly from Krista's perspective, like, well, they're NPCs, they want to live too. And we're like, but we want to live more.
Which is good on some things, but it was just
It's good on some things, but when you give creatures that can basically do the same thing every single round and you're not immune to it, yeah.
It was a pretty debilitating effect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, again, I really question the writers of this sometimes because it's like, this is a really mean ability. Well, it's only a CR8. And it can turn you into a CR2 really fast.
Mhm.
Why are there 3 of them? Well, there's enough. No, there is not enough of us. No.
And then you go to a different table with players of a super min-max mindset, and suddenly you're like, well, this is what I need just to survive. So I'm like, that was the problem with first edition.
Yeah.
For GM, for writing the encounters, is because I felt like they always wavered between horrifically overpowered or didn't do anything to you at all. It was hard to find that middle.
Yeah, it was. Because I remember, you're right, because there were a lot of encounters where they have these really cool abilities, and you're like, there is no point in this situation where this comes into play.
Or the low level things where it's like they flee at 4 hit points, and we're like, oh, they're never hitting that. They're at 5. They're really close and 1 to go, but the next hit, boom, they're dead.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's like the one time they're throwing high level characters at a whole 40 low level goblins, and you're like, the only way they're gonna hit you is with a nat 20. And so you walk through all this stuff, and guys are just covered in blood. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna roll 400 times.
there was a scenario with like 40 Murlocs or something. We're like, the encounter math says it works. Practice doesn't. We just put a sonic wall in the middle and just touched it, and boom.
The one I remember is there was a giant pit we had to go down, but they had put cave fissures around this pit, and we were like level 7. There were 3 cave fissures, sure. So the cave fissure hits my fighter, a level 7 fighter with its filament, and she's just like, oh, it's over there? I'm a melee? Yeah, I'm just gonna let it drag me over to it. And then when I get there, I'm just gonna massacre it. Because I'm 8th level, this is a 3rd level creature.
I don't remember what scenario it was, but it was a 2nd edition scenario. I was playing my ruffian rogue, Nuke, Doom Gloom, and we ran into cave fissures, and I had just gotten, I must have been the 4, because I gotten my domain spell Overstuff, and I was just like, what if they're just hungry? So I cast Overstuff on one, and it's after it captured me, hoping it'd let me go. And I'm like, and I rolled everything, and to cut the filament, which should have been super easy, and I'm like, it's not working. Help me. Someone save Nuke.
I don't think I played that one with you. I think I just heard about it.
I think Justin, I feel like Justin ran it, and I was like, well, I thought you'd let me go. And he's like, well, you know, the rest of them were hungry. And I was like, oh, I realize now it backfired on me. They're like, this one magically makes food. We will bring it back to the nest. So that's how Nuke nearly became king of the cave fishers. Or at least a cook.
Yeah, something. But yeah, no, some of it you're just like, what were you thinking? Because I don't remember how the other 2 cave fishers in that died, but it was horrific.
Mm-hmm.
It just, the one I dealt with just dragged me over. The other 2 were dead by the time I got to that one, and I wasn't fighting it at all. The other 2 were dead, and I'm just like, everyone was like, you okay? Yeah, just let it drag me over to it.
I don't feel like walking.
That's what it was. It's like, well, there's a giant hole here, and it's pulling me across, so just let it do its thing. Once I get there, sucks to be it.
That is an improvement over first edition, where our armored marshals don't have to be scared of every cliff or body of water. They're like, oh, yeah, we can swim.
Yeah. No, that was probably one of the funniest parts of I made a Lizardman fighter in first edition. I don't remember. We were doing It was a campaign style game
Yeah.
that we could get credit for, and I brought him. And so the enemy was harpies on the far side of a river,
Oh yeah.
and I failed my will save because fighter, my will save. So what does he do? He jumps in the water and starts swimming across, and the harpies are like, "No, you're not supposed to do that.
That's cheating.
It's cheating. You're not supposed to be in full plate mail and able to swim the river because you have a swim speed."
I remember.
So yeah, he gets over there and starts beating on one of the harpies, and so they fly across the river and stop singing because they're like, "We don't want him."
I remember running the first edition scenario where one of the things in the scenarios you guys had to retrieve like a stone sarcophagus at the bottom of a pool, and everybody just looked at the water and said, "No, no, 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 no." And I'm like,
That was me too.
and eventually your character is like, "Fine, I'm going in." And the fight consisted of one alligator. But because of
The
water
penalties for swimming in full plate.
rules, well, you
It
got
was
out
my
of your armor.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's like, "I'm the only one that has this skill. I have a -8 in my armor. I sink like a rock." Okay, fine, I'll take my armor off. And the other thing was she was a gray maiden, so the armor is very much a part of the character.
Hmm. And everyone else is like, "We're rooting for you. Don't die."
Yeah, and that's all it was.
Like, well, I want to say, like, Mike had a gunslinger. It's like, yeah, black powder and water don't mix. You're on your own, kid.
It was something like that. Because, yeah, she had to swim to the bottom, wrap the rope around the sarcophagus, and they were pulling it out.
Mhm.
And that's when, like, the baby crocodile or alligator
Yeah.
would have. It was a young one, so it was appropriately leveled. But I'm like, how is this appropriately leveled? I'm the only one that can actually fight this thing, and I don't even have my armor on.
Like it was, because its only strength was being in the water. It's just that being in the water carried so many penalties. Like, in first edition, if your GM is like, "Do you want to go to this island or the volcano?" Take the volcano. It's
Yeah.
safer.
It's safer.
You go in the water, you die. Just cross the board. Water is the
And then
deadliest
they
place to
had the
be.
freaking brilliant idea of the elemental plane scenarios in first. And they did like several that were the plane of water.
Yeah.
And they forgot how they got you to some of these places. Because
Yeah.
one of them was a brine dragon that's granting you its water breathing ability and swimming you here. And then it gets there, and what's the last thing that happens? Oh, the brine dragon turns on you, and we're just like, how do we get back?
Pretty much. That, and we had a hard time getting to the final fight of the scenario, because, not gonna lie, after several of those fights, I thought, oh, we finally reached the end of the scenario, and then it's like, oh, no, this is the final. I'm like, oh.
And it took 8 hours to get through it.
It was a nightmare scenario.
It was a nightmare scenario.
Like, the logic be darned. To me, it worked out because I bought a Pearl of the Sea because we were using core rulebook, and that was the only item I could find and afford that gave you swim speed and water breathing. So I'm like Krista's character. Take it, swim away because you can. Nobody can see your stupid ranger.
Yeah. Because it
Live.
pretty much killed all but the ranger.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it was just this vicious gauntlet that we had no spells. by the time we got to the Brine Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
No spells, no hit points. It's like, oh, here's the Brine Dragon. Are you kidding?
It was written for people that wanted more challenge. And we weren't those people.
I mean, there's more challenge, and then there's that.
True.
That was not more challenge. That was, we're going to exhaust your spells before you ever get to the boss. And so when you're fighting the boss, you have no spells left, and you're probably half dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah. First
But-
edition. Very swingy.
yeah, it was very swingy. Because I remember we also did with those characters, we did the Rune Lord.
Yep.
And he was, no, he killed 2 people in 1 round.
Yep.
But we still killed him.
Miraculously.
Miraculously.
Because you guys saved and lost like half your hit points, but you're like, that's more than enough. I'm just gonna beat you to death. Yeah.
No, I was the fighter. I failed my save
That's right.
and spent the entire rest of the fight on 1 hit point. And he just never went after me.
Mm-hmm.
Was I there for that one?
No.
Probably not.
Um,
And then
there
I
was
think I
4
don't
of us,
remember
so
who.
I think it was me, Krista. I think
Myself.
Jason was running it.
Yeah. Mike.
It was either Mike or Monk. Who was he? Troublemaker.
Aaron?
Aaron.
No, Aaron was not there
Aaron
for
wasn't
was there. Aaron did not make it far enough in that. That was the core campaign.
Yeah, because we had so many deaths, and we were like, do you have the money to come back? And that's when we found out he wasn't keeping track of that, and we were like, you kind of need to know.
Yeah.
And
It was well before that, and
it was too many deaths.
yeah, he had not been keeping track of the gold, and
No, he died
he died a lot.
Way too many times.
All right, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just building out the
Reminiscent.
kineticist. I'm debating on rogue or investigator. You said
Mm-hmm.
because they both have a defunct feature, whether it's devise a stratagem or sneak attack. But devise a stratagem
Is based on intelligence.
Yeah, that's why I'm leading ruffian, because I get that's strength based, and then also I get all the same feats, and then there are rogue feats later on that allow me to do certain things, like nothing that affects my impulses or my blast, but other things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at investigator. Having a shitty DC doesn't matter to me any. I'll get more intelligence as I level up. But I was thinking of like pursue a lead gives me a bonus, it gives us a bonus, and then other features and feats, like as you well know because you play investigator in society.
Yeah. I don't
I'm
play
leaning
her
ruffian.
well,
Solely because, but yeah, I'm thinking dual gate would make sense, but I'm thinking single gate earth, just to get the floating stones and the armor. What's it called? Armoring stones or something like that.
Yeah.
And if I do that, I'm going to do the construction occultist athletics, which will give me a +1 rep with the builders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be good.
Dwarf unburdened iron reduces my speed to 20 instead of 15,
Mm-hmm.
and then I won't give a crap about ABP because kineticists don't give a crap about it anyways, as long as they get their item.
Gate attuner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really all they care about.
Attenuator.
Because How would ABP? Because that just applies to strikes. It wouldn't apply to my blasts, would it?
Like, because it was written before it, to me, it just counts as your basic rune. So, but I would just, since they're just set at the levels that the runes become available, it'd just be set at the levels that your gate attenuators.
That makes sense. Cool. Well, rock and roll. All right.
But
So we good? Awesome.
hope you guys enjoyed some of our rambling.
There was a lot.
The bulk of our ramblings.
But I think we got a fun group going. So we'll see. We'll do next time whenever we play Bloodlords. You'll get to see these characters in action, however they turn out. But you guys have a great day. Go to a fellow shop to fund our tickets to Geb. And have a great day.